development towards a peace deal. Syrian rebels threw that suggestion out the window, however, saying the morale is sky high after Russia's pullout and that they believe an outright military victory is now in sight on the assumption that Assad cannot survive without Russian involvement. The expectations for the Syrian talks started pretty low after a previous round of talks ended in disaster, with both sides arguing with the UN over the point of whether the talks ever actually began at all. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump has won Tuesday's winner-take-all primary in Florida, apparently dealing a knockout blow to Senator Marco Rubio, who has suspended his campaign. But Trump, who was also projected to win in Illinois and North Carolina, failed to capture the other major prize of the night in Ohio, where the state's two-term governor, John Kasich, has scored his first win of the race. While Kasich was able to defend his home turf, Rubio could not, and it forced him out of the race while giving Trump a major boost. Trump's Florida victory comes in one of the two winner-take-all delegate states for the Republicans. He earned all of Florida's 99 delegates to the GOP convention in Cleveland, and all but ensures that he will finish the night the delegate winner in 5 states, holding primaries on Tuesday. During his Ohio victory speech, Kasich sought to position himself as a less bombastic alternative for conservative voters. The victory in his home state, where for 18 years he has served as either a congressman or governor, is a powerful moment for Kasich and, more importantly, for the Stop Trump movement, as it denies Trump any of the 66 delegates that were at stake in the winner-take-all contest. Late Tuesday night, Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton was projected to win Ohio, Florida, and North Carolina primaries and significantly boost her lead over Bernie Sanders in the delegate tally. A huge number of voters in the Sunshine State cast early ballots by mail, allowing election officials to deliver quick tallies on Tuesday night. With those votes already cast, Clinton was projected to win with more than 65% of the vote. The Libertarian Party also held primaries on Tuesday, with Gary Johnson narrowly defeating No Preference in the North Carolina contest featuring 11 candidates. In Missouri, Uncommitted edged out Austin Peterson, who was looking to win the non-binding primary in his home state. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a congressional panel on Tuesday criticized the Environmental Protection Agency and Michigan officials for failing to do more to sound the alarm about high levels of lead in the city of Flint's drinking water. Representative John Chaffetz, a Utah Republican who chairs the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, said government at every level, local, state, and federal, made poor decisions. The crisis has drawn national attention and led to calls for Michigan Governor Rick Snyder to resign. It has also led to several lawsuits in state and federal courts and federal and state investigations. Governor Snyder and EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy are scheduled to testify before the same panel on Thursday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A job applicant totally nails an interview with the person who will make his life a living hell for the next 5 years. And adjusting several sliders on a recording studio's mixing console pays off big time. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, a study published by researchers at Johns Hopkins University revealed a direct correlation between breastfeeding and knowing exactly what's best for other people at all times. Overwhelming evidence indicated that the moment mothers begin breastfeeding, they develop a highly honed sense of what is wrong with others' approach to life, and were able to loudly enumerate those faults with total confidence in their accuracy. Researchers noted that the practice greatly boosted a young mother's immunity to the viewpoints of others. And in this week's Tech Report, a startup is very casual about about its dress code and benefits. In other news, the Secretary of Interior says knocking down the Rocky Mountains could really open up the nation. And a woman is not going to let her husband of 60 years drag her into death at the same time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Of course, you're invited to join us here. Our toll-free numbers are available to you, also our Skype username, and we'll share those with you in moments. Wanted to bring some stuff to the table to talk to you about. Also tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
And Darryl.
North Korea has sentenced a United States-based college student to 15 years of hard labor. Now, we've talked about North Korea a number of times on this program because I find it to be a fascinating study in the unknown. We really don't know what things are like there. It's an amazing place as far as being very, very scary. There's a lot of amazingly horrifying and bizarre things that come out of North Korea. Some of the documentaries that I've seen about it are really just fascinating. The Vice, for instance, has made some very interesting ones.
What I find most interesting about it is it's a study in socialism, like government control. The government has a great deal of control over the lives of North Koreans, especially in the 90s.
Yeah, not as much as they did back then.
And what happens if you sort of isolationism. So both of these things are traditionally considered bad by most economists, but people charge forward. Let's keep those people out and just us in. Right? They want that. And it's like,
hey, that sounds like the Donald Trump campaign.
There's certainly some isolationist aspects to the Donald Trump campaign, and it's a populist message in many ways. And another thing is it's like, well, everything I think should be a right, and everything that I disagree with should be against the law, right? Like and that's basically how people operate, and that's essentially what North Korea is.
It is sort of.
They actually had mandates on the types of haircuts that people had at one point.
They sure did. I don't know if they still do.
They also have a constitution that claims to.
They have a constitution.
Wow. They
do
do have a constitution.
Somebody wrote something.
Most people would probably be surprised at that, but their constitution also claims to support freedom of speech, freedom of religion. The right to travel. It specifically grants the right to travel or recognizes the right to travel.
Wow.
We don't even in the U.S. have a recognized right to travel.
Well, that sounds good on paper, but
it sounds amazing on paper.
Obviously, the reality is a lot different. Of course,
it's a republic, not a democracy.
You'll be shot if they catch you traveling out of North Korea without permission.
Or traveling within North Korea without permission.
That's true. There are, I don't know if it's a caste system, but there are certain people who they just don't get around in North Korea. Of course, it's hard to do so because you don't have cars for the most part. There are the most elite bureaucrats who have cars, and the military, of course, has cars. There are some government buses, but if you look at the streets of the cities in North Korea, they're usually pretty much empty. There's people walking in them here and there.
They don't have like oxen pulling carts and stuff?
I don't know if that's happening in the city as much, but maybe on the, out in the plains. Our toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And now they've sentenced an American college student to 15 years of hard labor. What for? What did he do? Did he rape someone? Did he attempt to kill Kim Jong-un? No. Turns out that he committed what they call a severe crime against the North Korean state. He attempted to steal a political banner. He's 21 years old. His name is Otto Warmbier. He's an economics student at the University of Virginia and was found guilty of those severe crimes. And once again, attempted to steal a political banner from a restricted area of the hotel where he was staying in the capital, Pyongyang. Now, I presume that is the hotel. When you watch the documentaries about North Korea, which is really the only way to get any information about it, and the documentaries are still limited in what they can show you because whenever you go and create a documentary in North Korea, you go on a very specific state-approved journey. You are not allowed to leave the track, so to speak. And if you do leave the track, you might end up in the same place where Otto Warmbier is, which is a North Korean labor camp. So most people don't leave the beaten path, and they usually have some sort of guard with them who will prevent them from leaving the beaten path. So you really never get to know what life is really like, at least from the perspective of an American visitor or an American journalist or any other world journalist or visitor.
That much is true, but I will point out that the vast majority of tourists that go to the vast majority of places essentially experience the same thing wherever they go.
Sure, tourist traps and things like that. Sure.
They go to, I've been places, and basically I end up going to the places that you're supposed to see when you go there.
Yeah, but you're still choosing to do that.
It's
in
true.
North Korea, you don't get to choose anything else.
I could wander off.
Right. You could go wander down into the slums if you wanted to in Bradenton, Florida, but you generally wouldn't.
Tourists go to Bradenton, Florida?
Somebody's going to the museum that they
Did
have
they get
there.
lost on the way to Coquina Beach? I mean, I'm not exactly sure what happened.
There's a museum in Bradenton, Florida?
Yes,
there is the Bishop Planetarium. They keep a manatee there named Snooty.
I'm sure they've had 10 Snooties at this point.
It's the Southwest Florida Museum. The Bishop Planetarium, I believe, has closed, actually.
Really? Okay, I was going to ask why a planetarium had manatees, because those two things don't go together.
They're pretty close by, but no, not in the same building. They're on the same property, however, or at least they were, unless they closed the place. They used to have laser light shows. It was a really good time.
Now,
if the person
I got high.
Yeah.
You got high. That's surprising.
Yeah,
that never happens. If the person running the planetarium were a big fan of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I could see them keeping dolphins.
All right, I do apologize. The Bishop Planetarium is still open. And by the way, Snooty is at the Parker Manatee Aquarium.
Ah, okay.
Which is a big swimming pool.
So not the planetarium.
No.
Okay.
Nearby, though. Anyway, back to the story here. Pyongyang stealing a political banner. At least he attempted to steal it, because it seems like he got caught. His conviction by the North's Supreme Court. And we saw some video footage, Mark. You had played a clip that included a very brief shot of inside of this courtroom. This is a big courtroom that this guy was in. I mean, there were more people in this one courtroom, uniformed North Korean bureaucrats and soldier types than I've ever seen.
It looked like a press conference at like the UN or something. It was a pretty big deal that they got this guy for stealing a poster.
The conviction was announced on Wednesday by China's Xinhua news agency, comes soon after the UN Security Council agreed to a new round of sanctions in response to the regime's recent nuclear test and rocket launch. The White House also announced a fresh round of sanctions on North Korea in response to those same incidents on Wednesday. There was no immediate confirmation of the trial.
Do you think that had anything to do with his sentence? You think they would sentence him more heavily in order to hopefully get some of these sanctions taken off of him?
No, this is just filler in the story. They're just letting you know some of the...
You don't think North Korea sentenced this kid based on some of the sanctions that have been put on them? Of course they did.
I mean, I don't think this is an
a prisoner
unusual
exchange.
Sentence.
Come on.
I don't think this is an unusual sentence for North Korea.
Yeah,
I mean, this is North Korea we're talking about.
It won't be carried out.
What do you mean? It won't be carried out?
The sentence?
Okay, so what are you getting at?
They will... arrange a prisoner exchange of some sort.
What prisoners is the United States holding?
They will exchange something for the prisoner. And those things will be of benefit to North Korea, as they tend to be.
What do you
think? And it's not unprecedented that after a couple of Americans wind up getting sentenced to prison in North Korea, that the U.S. president has some kind of meeting with delegation from North Korea.
What do they do? Give them Choco pies?
The North Koreans?
Yeah. What do you think they're going to get out of this? I guess is what I'm wondering.
You're never going to find out.
We'll drop one of these sanctions. We'll drop this embargo for 90 days. We'll do fill in the blank. Please be nice to our person because he's American and Americans are better.
We'll unthrottle your internet for a month. How's that?
Well, I hope you're right about that. Obviously, I don't want this kid to go to prison for 15 years in hard labor camp.
I wonder...
I don't want anybody going to prison for 15 years of hard labor when they've not harmed anyone.
Well, he stole this banner. And that was a poor choice, right? And I got to say, to some extent, ladies and gentlemen, keep your hands off crap that doesn't belong to you.
No doubt.
Yes.
And
I guess it could be worse. He could have stolen a paperclip and then been executed for it.
The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. If you want to weigh in on the North Korea sentence of 15 years of hard labor for stealing a banner, or at least attempting to, for a college student from the United States. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
February is National Heart Month, and chances are you have a cardiovascular issue like I do. I help maintain my healthy heart by drinking Super Beets. It's a superfood powder that I mix with water, but you can mix it with yogurt or put it in a smoothie, whatever you want. Not only does it help boost my circulation and support my healthy blood pressure naturally, but I feel the energy and stamina boost in about 20 minutes, which no other superfood formula guarantees. All the beets from Super Beets come from one non-GMO farm in California, so they can keep a close eye on the production of the dietary nitrates. I want you to try this product for National Heart Month. And if you don't feel the results, you don't pay, guaranteed. Get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can see it's working. Plus, get the free book, Beat the Odds. And all of this comes with free shipping. Call 800-951-8940 or visit FTLBeats.com. I believe in Super Beets. 800-951-8940, FTLBeats.com.
Hi, this is Sophie Winnick, longtime distributor and user of Longevity products. In the last few years, my family went through a crisis. Everything else in my life, including my business, had to be put on the back burner. Thankfully, life is getting back to normal now. But the one thing I never had to worry about was my business and my monthly commission. I've been a distributor for Longevity for over 17 years, since before it was Longevity. And I've got to say, the most amazing thing about this company is the people. While my family was in crisis, other distributors stepped in and helped my customers, simply because that's what Longevity people do, even for people they don't know. For me, it has never been about getting rich. It was about a product I could stand behind, a company I could count on, and a monthly commission check that has never, not once, been late in 17 years. Longevity is truly a business for everyone, even people who have too much to do. I'm Sophie Winnick. I'm just like you. I have a real life, real ups and downs, but I know I will always have Longevity.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is down $1 at $1,235 per ounce. Silver is 7 cents lower at $15.34 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $417 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping customers buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. How might we help you? Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or see us online at rrbi.co.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us here, comment on whatever you want to discuss, but we are talking about the North Korean sentence of 15 years hard labor for Otto Warmbier, who is a college student. He's 21 years old, and apparently at some point when he was visiting there over the new year, he attempted to take some kind of signage from the hotel in which he was staying in Pyongyang, a political banner is what it was described as. Maybe he just wanted a keepsake.
I'm sure that's what it is. Actually, according to some article I've read regarding this, is that he claims, and it gets complicated here, that somebody offered him a $10,000 car for the banner. So
somebody? Meaning?
Well, there was, I believe the person's name was Demon S or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. It's a little weird.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get some more information here.
Deaconess.
We're going to continue with that story. So if you want to join us, 855-450 free.
This morning, I took my Super Beets. What it is it's a superfood powder that I add with some water and just drink it down. It's relatively quick. I get it in before I drink my coffee. No big deal. The all-natural dietary nitrates in Super Beets are sourced from non-GMO beets, and they help boost my circulatory system and support my healthy blood pressure naturally. So what I would, my experience with Super Beets is that it has helped lower my blood pressure, and it gives me a little burst of energy. It's the nitric oxide that it helps your body produce with these dietary nitrates has been shown to be very effective for things like your heart health and plaque in your arteries and these sorts of things. And if you live long enough, this is going to be an issue. If you're over the age of 40, you're already experiencing cardiovascular issues. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means you're getting older, and there's nothing you can do about it except, take some supplements like Super Beets. So check it out. If you don't feel the results, you don't pay, guaranteed. You get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get the nitric oxide indicator strips free to use. They're free to use before and after drinking Super Beets so that you can see it working in your body. Plus, you get the free book, Beat the Odds, and all that comes to you with free shipping. All you have to do is go to ftlbeats.com. That's ftlbeats.com, or give them a call, 800-951-8940. 800-951-8940.
So in the past, according to The Guardian, the regime in North Korea has used detainees as leverage to secure visits by high-profile U.S. politicians, including former Presidents Bill Clinton and Jimmy Carter. The U.S. accused North Korea of using Mr. Warmbier, the college student, for propaganda purposes after he made a stage-managed confession in late February. That sounds interesting. A stage-managed confession. Sounds like they gave him a script to read, right?
Well, yes, that's generally what stage-managed means.
In a prepared statement read before TV cameras, Warmbier said a member of Friendship United Methodist Church in Wyoming, Ohio, described as the mother of a friend, had offered him a used car worth $10,000 if he could return with the banner as a trophy from North Korea. Church officials said they didn't know the woman identified by Warmbier, adding that he was not a member of the congregation. Warmbier broke down in tears as he acknowledged and apologized for his alleged crime, which he described as, quote, the worst mistake of my life, unquote.
It certainly feels that way now, I imagine.
As if visiting North Korea weren't a big enough mistake.
I'd like to go to North Korea. I'd be very interested, but I'd be careful while I was there. I know they have a propensity for locking up Americans.
This was brought up the other night on the show, and that's what I said. I'd be fascinated to go to North Korea if I could be guaranteed safe passage home. And I'm not, so there's no way I would set foot in that place. It sounds like an absolutely horrifying place to be.
As much crap as we've talked about North Korea throughout the years, it doesn't seem like a very good idea for us to ever travel there.
Yeah, that's true. He was arrested in early January as he was about to board a flight from Pyongyang to Beijing at the end of his visit, which was arranged by Young Pioneer Tours.
He was almost there.
An agency specializing in travel to North Korea. On its website, the U.S. State Department strongly discourages all travel to North Korea with which Washington does not have diplomatic relations and warns of the, quote, risk of arrest and long-term detention, unquote. His parents pleaded with the North to show leniency, citing his youth and the fact that he had made a full confession in public. Bill Richardson, former governor of New Mexico, who had previously traveled to North Korea, met their ambassador to press for his release, according to the New York Times. And don't hope too hard on this one. Although maybe you're right, guys. Maybe they'll send some politician over and give him some kind of bonus, and then they'll let him go.
That's generally what happens.
Last year, North Korea sentenced Canadian pastor Hyun-Soo Lim to life imprisonment with hard labor on sedition charges. So I don't know if they've let him out yet. It doesn't sound like it. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. I wish the guy the best, but I wouldn't get my hopes up about it.
You think he's just going to stay in there for 15 years?
I don't think he'll be there for
camps.
15 years. I
Do
think
they
he'll
have
be
parole
there.
in North Korea?
I never said that he would get paroled by the North Korean government. It's going to take some amount of time before the U.S. government, makes a sweet enough deal with the North Korean government. So he'll be in jail for a while.
Yeah, I would agree. And
unless he dies before they wind up getting him out.
The prison camp is not nice in North Korea, that's for sure.
I imagine he will probably be in the best of the prison camps, being treated the best of the people there, would be my guess.
You are imagining things, and I don't know if you have any basement for, or any base for that.
I'm the only one in the room that's been in prison. And I know how prisons tend to operate. They're
know
insular.
how American prisons tend to operate.
They're insular places.
Yeah.
Where and people are all about rank. All across the world, people are about rank, and the social standing and these sorts of things. And North Korean prison guards, this is just a guess, are likely to consider an American citizen to be of higher rank than some North Korean political prisoner.
I don't know about that.
No. I don't know, because
Americans
in
are
North
the enemy.
Korea, they're taught that Americans are the enemy. Americans are the ones that are preventing you from world domination, and Americans are preventing North Korea from being great and wonderful. Not that, I'm sure they don't say... I don't know. Do they say make North Korea great again? Like without
I think
the U.S., we can make Korea great again.
Right. They blame the U.S. for everything,
dividing the peninsula. Definitely.
But they also blame the U.S. for little things, or at least what seems like a little thing. But if you're in the middle of it, it's not. Losing power in North Korea is the U.S.
Yes.
United States' fault. It's because the United States is constantly sabotaging the power grid in North Korea. See, there's U.S. spies, and the U.S. military is trying to destroy North Korea. And the dear leader, of course, is keeping them at bay as much as possible. But that's why the power keeps going out, folks. Seriously, that's what they tell people.
Now, I know in Venezuela, because we've covered Venezuela a good bit.
They also blame the U.S. for their problems.
Right, but they run out of toilet paper in Venezuela. Have they yet run out of toilet paper in North Korea?
Did they ever have it?
Excellent question. I suspect that you would never get to find that out unless you could talk to the people who are from North Korea, and sometimes you can. There's some groups that help people leave North Korea. They help sort of underground railroad type.
Yeah, there's
like
Link, Liberty in North Korea.
Right. Liberty in North Korea is a great example of that. And then, that would be a question. Maybe, I'm sure someone's asked it, but it's not really something you can likely quickly Google. Or maybe you can. Let's find out. 855-450-FREE. It's just hard to get information out of that place. 855-450-3733. Of course, the North Korean government will say, well, they're lying. We've got plenty of toilet paper. See? And then they'll show you footage of it.
I actually dream of a world without toilet paper.
855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire's liberty activism scene this fall? You're invited to Keenvention. Keenvention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. You can explore the beautiful little city of Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, have fun at social events like the Hallow Keene Costume Dance Party, and learn about making the move. Keenvention received rave reviews last year. If you missed it, visit keenvention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenvention this November 4th through November 6th. Tickets are available now for a special pre-order price of just $50 via credit card or Bitcoin. However, only 100 pre-order tickets are available, so reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more, or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
And it's Free Talk Live. You can join us here toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Perhaps you want to talk about the North Korean sentencing a 21-year-old American college student to 15 years in prison. You guys are saying that the U.S. government will somehow finagle him out with some sort of deal at some point.
That's generally what happens.
And, of course, you can share your thoughts at 855-450-FREE. Also, the Skype username is LRN.FM, so feel free to connect to us there. Also, if you want to get some business cards, 500 of them for just $9.99. You can do that using code FTL, like Free Talk Live. Code FTL when you check out at Vistaprint.com. You can customize the text, colors, backsides, and more. They've got thousands of industry-specific templates, or you can upload your own logo to one of Vistaprint's existing designs, plus upload an entire design. Maybe you've got the full card already designed and ready to go. Just upload that. That's what I did with my Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree palm cards that I made, and it's super easy to use their online card creator. It's just an absolute snap, and they guarantee that you'll love your products at Vistaprint.com every time, or they'll make it right. They've got amazing customer service. So go there, Vistaprint.com. You can order 500 business cards and get them for just $9.99, and that's a starting price. If you want to upgrade to thicker stock or raised print, spot gloss, metallic finish, you can do that too. It's super easy. Vistaprint.com, code FTL at checkout for the discount on 500 custom business cards starting at $9.99 at Vistaprint.com. All right, so a little bit more. North Korea putting somebody in prison. Mark, you say you know prisons. You went to prison. this guy isn't going to have as tough a time, in your opinion, as your average North Korean. Now
that all I'm claiming is that he will be a celebrity in the prison and get 2 bowls of rice a day as opposed to the normal 1. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, that's if you get rice, because there have been some people who've said that while they were in a North Korean prison camp, they resorted to picking corn out of feces.
I imagine things are pretty rough, especially in the late 90s when the famine was going on.
I'm surprised they had corn in North Korea.
Well, I don't know if it was human feces that they were picking it out of.
Right, but I'm just thinking that Korea does not seem to be the climate that corn would grow in.
I couldn't tell you. That's just what the story was. Now, the Korean government will tell you that these expatriates, if you will call them that, are liars, and they're engaging in a propaganda campaign once they escape from North Korea against the People's Republic, and that things are really just great there, and you shouldn't believe a word that comes out of their mouths. So, did they really have to eat corn out of dung? Who knows?
Did they actually have corn?
I am certainly more likely to believe the person who was in prison in North Korea than I am the North Korean officials, but I'm just giving you the other side of the story.
Yeah.
Which is that, no, it's not as bad.
It's hard to know what's going on there, and I'm sure there has been an escapee from North Korea that has exaggerated.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm certain that many of the things that they say are true.
So you're right. It is hard to get information out of North Korea, which is why it's so mysterious and so fascinating, because we really don't know that much about it. And what we do know is usually what they allow us to know. Every now and then, some brazen documentary crew will break away from the beaten trail where they put you on this government-approved track that you have to go on. Every now and then, you'll find, like, the guys from Vice, in certain occasions, have sort of broken the rules and have gotten away with it.
They didn't go to prison.
They're not allowed to come back to North Korea after the fact. But it's just fascinating stuff, and there's plenty of documentaries you can watch. There was another one that was done more recently by, I think it was PBS, Frontline, I believe it was. They reported from North Korea, and they called it The Secret State, if I'm not mistaken, The Secret State of North Korea, where they actually did an undercover run into North Korea to smuggle things into the country, smuggling in flash drives and data with TV shows on it.
Choco pies.
So, Choco pies, that's a different story. I mentioned them earlier, and we didn't stop down to explain it. The Choco pie is something that is actually paid to people.
It's a currency of sorts.
Right.
Like a prison currency.
We had...
Hold on. What is a Choco pie?
Go ahead.
It's a little moon pie.
Look it up. Yeah, it's not really that tasty. I mean, although I've never really had moon pies that much in my life, so I can't really say.
It's a little moon pie.
Would you say it's better or worse than a typical moon pie?
It is a little chalkier. I'd say it's got more biscuit to marshmallow ratio than your average moon pie, but it's still pretty much on par with a moon pie.
Okay. I wasn't impressed with it when one of our listeners sent us a box of these Choco pies.
It's one of those things that you take a bite of and you're like, well, now I'm going to have to finish this because I've taken a bite of it.
I don't recall whether I finished mine. But anyway, I certainly didn't eat another one after that one. And anyway, what happens, Darryl, is there's between South Korea and North Korea, there's sort of this demilitarized zone where there's actually an industry that exists. I think it's called the Daesung Industrial Park.
Yes, it's jointly owned by the governments of North and South Korea.
Now, there's been some drama there recently with some shutdowns or something. I didn't really follow that story closely. But it allows people from North and South Korea to work together in this industrial zone, basically. So the South Koreans can cross into it, and then they can leave at the end of the day, and nobody gets shot for doing that. And it's at that industrial park that apparently people actually get paid in Choco pies.
So they don't get paid in dollars or whatever the Korean dollars would be. They get paid in
Choco pies.
Moon pies.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just the North Koreans who get paid in the Choco pies or the South Koreans as well.
Here you go. Here's a case of moon pies. Good luck paying your rent.
Well, they are accepted, though. This is the reason why, because the Choco pies are actually traded because they're this sugary confection and they'll last for a while.
Yeah, they've got some preservative. They're preserved to some extent. Look, Darryl, we had just mentioned that I was in prison, and I was in prison for 8.5 years.
Yes.
I didn't smoke cigarettes, but I would accept cigarettes as payment for debts.
And North Korea is a big prison, so Choco Pies for currency.
I mean, all a currency. Look at it. Look at the definition.
Yes,
of what
I'm
a currency
well aware
is,
of the
and
definition of
cigarettes fit it.
currency, and I'm well aware that in prison, cigarettes and sexual favors are currency.
I don't know what prison you were in, because I've never heard of sexual favors being handed off as currency. In most cases, you would have got your face beat in for making some kind of offer like that.
Okay, so maybe it's just
you watch television, okay?
So maybe it's just a bonus here. Exports of Choco Pies to North Korea have been very popular with the snack, this is from Wikipedia, used in lieu of hard cash in paying North Korean worker bonuses. So maybe you get paid in whatever, I'm sorry, I don't know what the Korean currency is offhand, whatever that is, and then you get the bonus in Choco Pies. North Korean workers at the Kaesong Industrial Complex in North Korea receive Choco Pies as part of their compensation. Prior to the closing of the complex during the 2013 Korean crisis, workers received up to 20 Choco Pies per day in addition to their wages.
Okay, so it seems as though it's like you work at McDonald's, and in addition to your crappy wage,
you get a discount.
They also say you get a free meal while you're here.
Well, 20 Choco Pies isn't a meal.
I'm well aware that it's
would
more
fill
than
you up.
a meal.
Yeah, okay, what I'm saying is that the meal at McDonald's is perishable. You may be able to take home a hamburger or two, and you may be able to keep them for a day or two.
Right.
But the Choco Pies can be used as a real currency in order to get whatever it is that one wants to get.
Workers would often resell the pies on the black market. So, yes, Choco Pies are a form of currency in North Korea. I suspect they are not as valuable in South Korea. And I think they're only
I imagine they're not.
Right, only paying the bonuses to the North
Cigarettes aren't as valuable in the free world as they are in prison.
So the toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. It's just fascinating stuff, and there's more. If you want to dig in and learn more about the Choco Pie, I think one night we read a detailed article about how this works over there.
I think I've heard all I need to hear about Choco Pies.
Yeah, toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. There's an interesting story that just came out this week about yet another freedom experiment. We moved here as part of the Free State Project here to New Hampshire to get active for liberty in our lifetime. There's Liberland, which we've talked about over by Serbia, but now there's Liberstad, and that's going to be in Norway. And we'll tell you about that coming up here on Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us right here toll free at 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. If you like Free Talk Live, you like what we're doing here, then feel free to share us. Share whatever your favorite episodes were of the week on your Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, or I don't know. Can you do that on Instagram? Is that pictures only?
I don't know. I don't use the Insta, as the kids call it.
Yeah, I've only heard about Instagram. But whatever social
I also don't use Pinterest, but I know that you can pin things that aren't pictures to the Pinterest.
Yeah. But not really pin because it's a computer. But anyway, you can go and share us on your favorite social bookmarking site, even though we don't know where you're hanging out and where's cool because we're old, apparently.
Liberty.me is cool, kind of.
Is it? Okay.
Well, when I go there,
okay.
I enjoy myself. I just can't say I go there every day.
Yeah, I thought it was okay when I went there and checked it out, but it hasn't really brought me back.
Yeah.
Every now and then there's some sort of story that I'll see. I'll look at the URL. Oh, this is liberty.me. But it's never really something that's really brought me back regularly, I guess. But go ahead and share us out, and we sure do appreciate it. That's a great way to do it, to help Free Talk Live, and it doesn't cost you anything but a quick moment. So we appreciate that. Let's go to the phones, to the fun. Let's talk to Whit, listening in Arizona. Whit, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead. Hello, Whit. Whit in Arizona.
Oh, that's interesting you're calling me that. But anyway.
That's what the call screener put up on here.
3 cheers to real-world activists like the coworker that I worked with 2 weeks ago, whose son is on the DMZ right now, freezing his butt off. But because of that...
What DMZ?
Demilitarized zone.
I know. What DMZ?
Between North and South Korea.
That's most well-known on Earth, other than the one between India and Pakistan, which is even more dangerous. But I should like to also celebrate, it's almost 60 years to the day that my old man, thank God, returned from Korea like a million other people did from the United States of America, unlike 35,000 others that lost their lives protecting South Korea from the Kim Il-sung family that's been ruling that country misruling that country for 60 years because of people like you.
Don't you think
because of people like you?
Don't you think it's a Whit, don't you think it's a misuse of U.S. taxpayer dollars to send?
You're speaking to me, Mark, Minister?
Don't you think it's a misuse of tax dollars?
I'm happy to answer that question now that you're speaking to me and you want to have conversation with somebody that doesn't agree with you, good. because that's why I call in.
Whit, I don't
All
really
right.
care whether
Get
you
out of
agree
our
or disagree with me. It's when you threaten me and my family that bothers me.
I haven't threatened your family at all, by the way.
I've got it documented on a website.
Let me put it another way. You can call the cops and have them call me. I'd be happy to tell them.
What was the question, Mark, that you were asking?
I just want to know, like he is parading the theft of American tax dollars from people for the United States military to protect some other country. And
I don't know if he was supporting that. Wait, you were.
He was calling them real
Here
heroes.
I am. May I respond to that? Since this is an old
If you
argument,
stop rambling on,
I never
yes.
get to respond to rambling. You're the one rambling and interrupting. Free Talk Live.
Go ahead, James or Whit or
Again,
whatever you call it.
I'll just reiterate: real-world activists, armed and dangerous, yes, with your taxpayer monies or with or without your consent, Minister Edge.
So wait, did
South
you support the
Korea is a
Korean
free
War or
country,
not?
Unlike North Korea, because we did not succeed in our military objective to liberate the entire continent, which was the intent. And yes, it costs real-world monies like what you were bragging the other day about, Minister, having made in Bitcoin. You're not bragging about having made more Bitcoin. You're bragging about having made more blood money dollars. So you're a hypocrite, Minister Edge. If you don't like your taxpayers...
I don't know what he's talking about. Look,
yes,
hey, Whit,
yes,
did
you
you say you supported or not the Korean War? I'd just like to know, because I think Mark jumped to a conclusion. I just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Do I support my father having been over there 60 years ago or 60 years plus? Yes, just as he did, even when he was wounded.
Okay, I thought you were a libertarian. I thought you said you were a libertarian, so I just wanted to see about that.
Okay, then you say you're an activist, but you won't actually confront real-world tyrants. You call yourself an activist.
I'm pretty sure I've confronted plenty of tyrants. Thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And yes, the crossing guard was a little tyrant. She attacked my friend Derek J.
You and your crossing guard activism.
He brought it up. And it wasn't crossing guard activism. We were doing outreach at the school. And
I thought you were there to film some sort of I'm running for school board commercial.
No, not at all. No, we were there doing outreach.
Derek J was getting
said hello to this crossing guard, and she turned and hit him with her stop sign on purpose.
Yeah,
and I called her out for that because that's inappropriate behavior. I don't care how old you are
or what your gender is. I mean, the suggestion is that because she's an old woman, she should be able to react in whatever way she wishes to react.
And I was accused of ruining the liberty movement because of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what else you do in that circumstance when somebody hits somebody else. I mean, it's not like you went and knocked the lady over.
There's a lot of people who believe you just ignore it. You just let an old lady attack you, apparently. You just stand by as your friend is being swatted with a stop sign by some nut job. And I don't care how old she is. It's interesting watching people's reactions to that video because people lose their mind when they watch this video. And I don't remember offhand what it's called, but I'm sure if you search for Derek J. and Crossing Guard on Google or YouTube, you can pull that up. It appears in Derek J.'s Victimless Crime Spree, which you can watch for free, the entire full-length documentary film, over at victimlesscrimespree.com. Great movie. In fact, TJ was just pointing out tonight that it's been out for 3.5 years now, so congratulations to Derek J.'s Victimless Crime Spree. But it's one of the more outrageous scenes that people at least have communicated in that particular movie. And once again, there are these people who think that we make the whole liberty movement look bad by holding some elderly crossing guard to account for her actions, as though she should get a pass because she's an old lady. And I don't believe that.
I think that most people probably are asking themselves, well, what precipitated that event? Derek J. was out taking some video of just sort of what's going on in Keene, New Hampshire. And when you take video,
recording our activism there.
Well, not in this case. He was actually taking B-roll.
That's true.
To go around it. So he wasn't specifically recording the activism. He
was shooting footage of this woman doing her job.
Right. It was just he was just trying to get a shot of kids crossing the street with a crossing guard. Right.
I don't think there were kids there at that time. If you look at the footage,
she was certainly stopping traffic.
Well, later. The kids come later. At the time where she attacked him, there were no kids there at that very moment. He was behind her, maybe about 6 feet behind her, recording with his camera, as you were saying.
So he didn't have her face at all?
Getting B-roll, yeah. She was walking away from him. She turned around, and then he said hello, and she attacked him.
Right. So this is a human shape. It's not even any of her skin showing because it's winter time.
Well, no, it would have ended up showing her face.
If she would have turned around,
if she would have turned around, if she would have crossed the road or whatever. We had footage of her previously as well. She didn't like us being there previously, so it wasn't the first time we'd interacted with her. But it was for that day. It was the first thing that happened. There wasn't any kind of heckling of her or anything to roust her up prior to that. No, it was just she turned and she attacked. And people don't understand that. They don't believe it either when we tell them that. They just don't believe it. They feel like there must have been something that we said to goad her beforehand. And sorry, that's just not the case. This woman was not acting professionally, and she shouldn't have done that. Period. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. But once again, if you think that that somebody chewing out a crossing guard or a parking enforcer is ruining the Liberty Movement, then the Liberty Movement has way bigger problems. I was actually just recently we posted something on freekeen.com last night, and I was sort of researching sort of the history of schisms, at least briefly, here in New Hampshire. There have been a number of them, and I found an article from 2009 about the Topless incident that happened, which was a woman carrying a firearm while walking topless down Main Street. And there were people screaming then about how this has ruined the movement.
And then that happened about the same time that one of the locals to Keene was getting her breast painted in Central Square.
That was about a year later.
I would like to point out with the topless gun open carry thing that the lady who did it was basically forgiven and welcomed into the arms of the activists over in Manchester, while you were basically blamed for everything that happened. You didn't strap on a gun and did not walk around topless.
I did record the incident, however.
Yeah, I just think it's amazing how everything bad is Ian's fault.
Well, I publicize things, and so when you publicize what's going on, people are going to see some of what's going on, and they're going to say, well, I don't like that. And I don't like that it happened, and I certainly don't like that you're showing that it happened, because now other people will know that it happened.
But what Mark is saying is it wasn't the person that did the thing.
I understand.
That wound up basically being shunned. It was the person that said that somebody did the thing.
I understand. I'm the communicator of that thing. Had that thing just happened with no video, it would have been nothing, right? If I weren't there, if Dave Ridley wasn't there to record that, it would have been nothing.
It still would have somehow been your fault.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE, but it wouldn't have mattered. 855-450-3733. If the tree falls in a forest and no one's there to hear it, what's it matter? 855-450-FREE. You can join us here. Skype username is LRN.FM. Hour 2's coming up.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom, and with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people, where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
Why are you playing a slot machine sound for an online poker site?
Do you have a poker sound effect? Because we have a new advertiser, swcpoker.eu.
Brought to you by the same guys that did seals with clubs.
Now they're called swcpoker.eu. It's Bitcoin Poker 2.0. They have lots of new games, including Chinese poker. The Krill leaderboard is active now. It's Bitcoin Poker from the brand you trust, swcpoker.eu.
Get on over to swcpoker.eu and start playing now. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, March 16th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.25 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $420. Antiwar.com reports a day after the opening of the Syrian peace talks in Geneva, UN officials say that the Syrian government and a major rebel faction have each submitted position papers outlining their respective expectations for a settlement of the ongoing civil war and looking for any common ground between them. UN officials would not say anything about the chances of doing that, but did say that the withdrawal of Russian troops and warplanes from Syria is also bolstering expectations for a significant development towards a peace deal. Syrian rebels threw that suggestion out the window, however, saying the morale is sky high after Russia's pullout and that they believe an outright military victory is now in sight on the assumption that Assad cannot survive without Russian involvement. The expectations for the Syrian talks started pretty low after a previous round of talks ended in disaster, with both sides arguing with the UN over the point of whether the talks ever actually began at all. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump has won Tuesday's winner-take-all primary in Florida, apparently dealing a knockout blow to Senator Marco Rubio, who has suspended his campaign. But Trump, who was also projected to win in Illinois and North Carolina, failed to capture the other major prize of the night in Ohio, where the state's two-term governor, John Kasich, has scored his first win of the race. While Kasich was able to defend his home turf, Rubio could not, and it forced him out of the race while giving Trump a major boost. Trump's Florida victory comes in one of the two winner-take-all delegate states for the Republicans. He earned all of Florida's 99 delegates to the GOP convention in Cleveland, and all but ensures that he will finish the night the delegate winner in 5 states holding primaries on Tuesday. During his Ohio victory speech, Kasich sought to position himself as a less bombastic alternative for conservative voters. The victory in his home state, where for 18 years he has served as either a congressman or governor, is a powerful moment for Kasich and, more importantly, for the Stop Trump movement, as it denies Trump any of the 66 delegates that were at stake in the winner-take-all contest. Late Tuesday night, Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton was projected to win Ohio, Florida, and North Carolina primaries and significantly boost her lead over Bernie Sanders in the delegate tally. A huge number of voters in the Sunshine State cast early ballots by mail, allowing election officials to deliver quick tallies on Tuesday night. With those votes already cast, Clinton was projected to win with more than 65% of the vote. The Libertarian Party also held primaries on Tuesday, with Gary Johnson narrowly defeating No Preference in the North Carolina contest featuring 11 candidates. In Missouri, Uncommitted edged out Austin Peterson, who was looking to win the non-binding primary in his home state.
You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com.
Reuters reports a congressional panel on Tuesday criticized the Environmental Protection Agency and Michigan officials for failing to do more to sound the alarm about high levels of lead in the city of Flint's drinking water. Representative John Chaffetz, a Utah Republican who chairs the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, said government at every level, local, state, and federal, made poor decisions. The crisis has drawn national attention and led to calls for Michigan Governor Rick Snyder to resign. It has also led to several lawsuits lawsuits in state and federal courts and federal and state investigations. Governor Snyder and EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy are scheduled to testify before the same panel on Thursday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A new trend in offices across the country. More and more people are switching to fetal position desks so that they can curl up in a ball on the floor while they work. Aaron Vaughn has a story.
The human body isn't meant to sit at a desk for 6 or 7 hours. The natural position, especially in the workplace, is to shut down completely, return to a womb-like state, and rock back and forth to soothe yourself.
Fetal position desks, which are even popping up in offices like Google and Facebook, come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Some have adjustable heights so you can cower underneath them, while more expensive options include a warm, pulsating blanket for workers to wrap themselves in to feel calm. But many people are making their own.
I've rigged this up so I can type comfortably and my arms won't get tired. Plus, it's got speakers so I can listen to a comforting voice saying shh over and over again.
I've tried a fetal position desk myself, and I can say it's a great way to get through the f***ing day.
Thanks, Aaron. I hate my job.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and of course you can join us here on the radio. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, whether you want to talk about the North Koreans sentencing a American student, age 21, to 15 years hard labor. We talked about that. Also, the crossing guard attack video, which I did look it up a few moments ago during the news, and it's called Crossing Guards Go Wild. So if you want to see that, if you've never seen it before, if you're new to the show, then you probably aren't familiar with it, so you should check that out. Also, you can watch the full Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree feature-length documentary film at victimlesscrimespree.com. So, Norway. There is a project that has been started, Liberstad, Liberstad.com is their website. The story is coming from startupsocieties.com, which seems to be a website that's reporting on kind of liberty projects that are happening around the world.
Yes.
And we're somewhat intimately familiar with one of them, the Free State Project, the idea of concentrating liberty activists in one geographic area, specifically New Hampshire, in order to get active and achieve liberty in our lifetime. And that project has attracted 20,000 people as signers who've pledged to make the move to New Hampshire, as the three of us have already done. We're early movers for the Free State Project. So the Free State Project is sort of the big boy on the block. They're the most successful story when it comes to having an activist migration. It's not the only one, however. In fact, Mark, you have a Facebook page called the Move Here Project, where you've been cataloging over a few years now. What, 3 years maybe you've had that page up? Seems like it's been a while.
It's been some time. I'd have to go back and look, but
you've been cataloging
maybe longer than that.
So not just the ones that are happening now, but the history, all of the various different Move Here projects.
If somebody can point me to a project that I do not have listed that suggests that people should move to an area for more freedom, for more freedom,
okay.
Right? There's been lots of projects to move different places and that sort of thing, and it can get murky, right? So if you move somewhere to have more religious freedom, then, well, America was a pretty successful one. The United States was a relatively successful one. Canada, to some extent, likely was too. But you know, it gets nebulous, and so I have to edit it to some extent. But you know, I do my best.
And so, had you added this one yet, the Liberstad? Because this is the newest today. This is the newest one on the scene here. The folks over at StartupSocieties.com interviewed the founders of Liberstad, who are building a city from scratch, they say, in Norway's southern forests. You can find their website at Liberstad.com. So here's the story. Scandinavia is often associated with socialism in the muddled minds of Americans. Despite this, the world's newest experiment with a completely private city is in Norway. Liberstaden aims to provide all services from roads to fire departments through the private sector. Liberstad advertises itself as a little piece of freedom. The city's founders aim to purchase a few hundred acres of farmland in southern Norway to establish a free market enclave. The project was started by John Holmsland and Sondra Bellis. They formed the Liberstad Drift Association, which will be responsible for the initial development and operation of the property. The plan is to build a vibrant community with all the comforts of the modern world, and with only minimal laws and taxes. Liberstad will have.
So they want to build it from the ground up. This
Sounds
is,
like it.
This is one of the tactics. And it can be, one of the challenges is you have to get people who are willing to build houses,
right?
In order to, do it, and they have to be willing to build houses in Norway, which I'm not entirely sure what the weather's like in wherever they are, Liberstad,
the southern
Norway.
portion of Norway,
southern portion of Norway, but I would imagine it's something commensurate with New Hampshire, if not a bit colder.
It is going to take those self-starters. And there are plenty of people like that in the Liberty movement. There are a lot of the, rustic types who want to get out and build their own house. You did that, Mark. You built your own house up here in the middle of the wintertime in New Hampshire. It doesn't get much more hardcore for building a house than that.
I particularly like the piece of property that we found, and I do have advice for people that want to build houses.
Which is don't do it, right?
Well, first, I think it's right for a certain personality type, and you have to be prepared in your relationship to do it. So I think that one of the best exercises I can recommend is go to the bank and get $10,000 out of the bank in cash, put it in your driveway, and spray it with lighter fluid and set it on fire. When you do that, I want you to look right into your spouse's eyes. Now, you don't want to warn them ahead of time, because that would sort of defeat, to some extent, the purpose of this. I want you to experience.
Wait. Did your spouse know you were going to douse the $10,000?
No,
he said you don't tell them.
Okay.
No, because the people who are going to enter into this, Ian, have no friggin' clue that they're going to lose $100,000 in the purchase of the building of this house.
Well, now
the idea of somebody building a house and quote unquote making money on it just makes me chuckle to myself. I bought a package, a house package, basically wood. I bought lumber and and some plans to build a house for $25,000, $30,000.
That's a good way to start building a house, is to have lumber and plans.
Yeah.
And I had people work for me for $10 an hour.
Cheap.
Skilled craftsmen work to help me build this house.
Right.
For $10 an hour, and we were $100,000 over budget.
Wow.
Obviously we're at the low of the
okay,
the real
so
estate
lighting $10,000 on fire would have made you $110,000 over budget.
No, that's just a practice to get there, because your wife is going to stab you in the eye with a freaking screwdriver if you do this, and then you will only be out an eye and $10,000, which is
And you still have no place to live. Congratulations, Mark.
Go buy a house.
And by the way, I'd just like to point out, Mark, your house is not opulent or large by any means.
Cabin.
I mean, how many square feet are we talking about?
800.
Here? Yeah. Okay. So you went over $100,000 over budget on an 800 square foot home.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's important, I think, to put that in perspective as well.
Now, is that 800 upstairs and 800 down?
That's correct. It sits on a garage that is the same size, basically.
Right. That doesn't really count. I mean, if you can't live in the space, it's not quite.
There's an office down there.
He's got office space downstairs.
It's very, very small, though. So, anyway, back to the story here. StartupSocieties.com. Liberstad will have no city council or government. Instead, the tone of the city's development will be organically guided by the first settlers. They can establish businesses, erect buildings, grow vegetables, brew beer, or pursue whatever economic activity that they're interested in. Liberstad's few laws and regulations will focus on protecting people's rights. The founders believe in the non-aggression principle, which states that using non-defensive violence is unethical, meaning you can't aggress against other people. They also want to protect participants' property rights to help grow a thriving free market. The government of the neighboring municipality looks favorably on the project. Now, why would that be? According to John,
I don't understand why you think this is so bad. In Europe, they much more live and let live in a lot of ways. It's not a police state, Ian.
Parts of Europe kind of are.
Remember, after the French attacks within the last year, there were some serious crackdowns in Belgium. Yeah, the Paris attacks. There were some serious crackdowns in Belgium and in other areas, certainly around Paris.
I think I wouldn't doubt for a second they look favorably on it. This is just going to be more people. They're going to spend money in town. That's
local government hopes Liberstad will increase tourism and business activity. Although local governments in Norway are allowed to collect property taxes, the municipality where the land will be bought does not currently collect property taxes. And John feels confident it will stay that way. In regards to the larger, because that's going to be the biggest question, I think, for a lot of people considering moving there is, all right, what are the property taxes? Because there's going to have to be, they're going to feel like there's going to be some kind of taxation going on here. And indeed,
that was my question.
They are saying there will be some level of taxes in the town.
Will they be voluntary?
Is it
Because
Libertad?
otherwise they would not be in compliance with the principle of non-aggression.
principle, yeah.
Is it Liberstad that has the taxes, or is it the neighboring town that has sort of VAT taxes?
The neighboring town does not have property taxes, but we don't know what other taxes it does have. Maybe it is a VAT tax, a value-added tax, as they call it in Europe.
I should be saying a VAT, in fact, because it's tax is part of the acronym. So a VAT is voluntary to some level. Obviously, it's not.
No.
Well,
if you're not collecting the VAT, you're
if you don't ever buy anything,
then it's voluntary.
Then sure.
Well, it's more voluntary than a property tax, which is to say if you don't ever live on planet Earth, then you don't have to pay it, right? Like, so has a more voluntary aspect to it than a property tax. Does that satisfy your definition, Darryl?
It's more voluntary, but that's akin to saying that, if you roofie the girl, then she's more willing to be raped.
The toll-free number.
It's still a tax. It's still theft.
Little hint to all you libertarian guys. Don't use rape in your analogies.
855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Darryl's ruining the movement here. It's Free Talk Live, and we've got Skype. Skype username is lrn.fm. Your comments and thoughts on Liberstad.
I'm Steve Sidkowski, a former Wall Street insider. Right now, I'm holding a book that could change your life. It will show you investing strategies which could help you earn the kind of money you've always dreamed about. And right now, I'm giving this book away for free. So who needs to read it? If you're in the middle of your career and you worry you'll never have enough money to retire, you need to read this book. If you're already retired and your income isn't enough, you need to read this book. And if you don't want to be selling burgers at the age of 80, well, you need to read this free book. The reality is you'll need at least $1 million to ever fully retire. If you're behind on that goal, you really need to read Trade Like the Pros. And you can for free by calling 1-800-656-9549. Are you skeptical that it will deliver results? It's a free book, so what do you have to lose? Find out how at 1-800-656-9549. That's 1-800-656-9549. 1-800-656-9549.
Hi there, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, and we're looking in this time of terrible financial crash, terrible meltdown of the medical system, we're looking to pay people obscene amounts of money if you become a student of our business at Youngevity. We will help you actually take care of people better than the medical system has. Think about it. We spend more money in America for healthcare than all the other 218 nations the world put together, and they can't even solve weight loss problems. I mean, the medical system can have a total mental brain fart, and if you do this, you will be able to save an enormous amount of people from being overweight, being obese. They don't even know what causes obesity. Believe me, we know what causes obesity. In the medical system, they think it's from eating too much. It's not from eating too much. It's actually a mineral deficiency. Do you solve a iron deficiency anemia with a bone marrow transplant? That's what they think. Do you solve a mineral deficiency that causes obesity with a gastric bypass? That's dumber than a stump. Contact us at gcnminerals.com. Learn how to lose weight, look good, and save yourselves a gob of money.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast.
Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. What do you think about the new freedom project called Liberstad? It's happening in southern Norway, in their southern forests. The founders were interviewed by StartupSocieties.com about their grandiose plans to create a free market town right in the middle of the woods.
And I hope that some of the people from Liberstad come to New Hampshire this summer. Apparently, the Startup Society, which is the website that we're getting this story from, they're hosting a summit in Portsmouth in July.
Interesting. And they're inviting different people from
They're
going
to have somebody from Liberland and several other move here for freedom sort of things. So hopefully somebody from Liberstad shows up.
What does stad mean in Norwegian?
Probably city.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. But anyway, we can continue. You can share your thoughts at 855-450-FREE. Mike is on the line in Clackamas, Oregon. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Mike.
Hey, guys.
Hey there.
So I just wanted to comment. I got two real quick stories I want to talk about the Topless open carrying team.
Yes.
And also practice. So this, it's funny you should bring this up because this kind of reminded me of something that I had a conversation with somebody. So I just got out of work. This is when I was in Bristol, New Hampshire, and I go to a little kind of like bar tavern in downtown Bristol. And I walk in and I sit next to what looks to be like a regular guy there, so like a regular patron. So I'm sitting there and we're talking about open carry. And this guy says, oh, he's all about it and he supports open carry and stuff. And then he brought up you guys. And I think this was in the year 2000 and maybe 9. I can't remember. Really,
yeah, it couldn't have been much later than that. Probably 08, 09, something like that.
Yeah. So he's like, but the people in Keene, he says, they go a little too far. I says, what do you mean? I just kind of played maybe the dunce here. I says, well, what do you mean? And he says, well, they go a little too far with, being topless and carrying a gun. And he says, there's no real limits. I says, what do you mean limits? He says, well, there's got to be some sort of limit. And I said, according to who? And then he comes back with a whole age-old response of, well, there's got to be some sort of centralized authority making the rules. And I'm just like, oh, here we go, And it's just that and the other thing, too, was in the same bar, in a different day, there was a guy sitting across the bar from me. And on the news, there was somebody, I think it was like in North Dakota or something, I'm not sure, there was a guy living on like the town line. So technically he wasn't like really living in a town. And I said, oh, that's a cool idea. So this other guy stands up and he says, well, who are you going to pay taxes to? That can't happen. And it's like, how about no taxes? People are so inclined to quickly do the bootlicking as soon as they possibly have the chance. I mean, it makes me sick.
Yeah, and that's sad, too, that was happening in New Hampshire, where there's a lot of people in the native population who understand that the government is a danger and the taxes are
There
not
are
a
places
good thing.
in New Hampshire that don't have property taxes, too. There are, they don't have schools. They don't have anything. So, it'd be interesting to see what a person like that would think about a place like that. I mean, oh, dear.
But there are
So he liked open carry, but he didn't like sort of the rest of it, right?
Right.
Well, these were two different actual people at two different times. But yeah.
Yeah, but there are people all over the place who are very obedient, and they feel like, taxes are the price you pay for society, that it's necessary. The taxes are necessary because without taxes, we would be in a state of nature where people were just killing one another.
I actually met somebody in the Massachusetts Libertarian Party that was saying that same thing.
It's
that,
ridiculous.
Well, taxes are just the price you pay to live in a civilized society.
And, of course, the irony is that taxes are violence. I mean, it's a threat of violence against you if you don't do what they say. If you don't pay up the amount that they say, they will put you in a cage or steal your stuff from you.
And I explained that to him, and he said, but no, it's not violence because it's
voting.
The price you pay to live in society.
You voted for this, Darryl.
I was like, I voted for none of the above.
Go ahead, Mike.
Darryl, I was going to say, Darryl, I actually had a conversation with a guy I worked with yesterday. He was complaining about, I work at a car rental place out here in Portland, and we had some new cars with, the window stickers on them. And one of the Ford Escapes or whatever had a sticker saying only like 0.07% of the parts are made in the USA. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, I'm just going to clean the car. And, this one guy was complaining about it. And he's like, well, they should be made in America. I says, well, why is that? And he said something along the lines of, well, they're shipping our jobs over and overseas and blah, blah, blah. And so this kind of led to other things. And this guy's a pro-military guy. And I really tried to kind of get the message across to him that if you don't pay your taxes and stuff, then violence will be taken against you. And he came back saying, well, it's not violence if they take you to jail. I said, it absolutely is. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't getting anywhere with this guy.
They don't see it as violence because they see it as the natural consequence of breaking the law, which they voted for the system. They are part of this system, and so they don't feel like it's the same thing as a thug coming and just kidnapping you.
Yeah, it takes, I mean, it's oftentimes you can't just in one short conversation just
almost never
slice to the root of it with people. I mean, this is, and especially if you're dealing with, as a young person, talking to an older person, they feel like they're informing you about how the world works, as though you didn't take civics class, right?
Listen here,
you
Sonny.
don't know how voting works. Oh, I'm sorry to tell you, but those guys with the guns on their hips and the truncheons and the tasers that take you to jail in the back of the caged automobile and will bang your head on the way in and bang your head on the way out if you say boo to them.
But it's okay because they
violent.
voted. they voted to take away your rights. They outnumber you. So they can take your rights.
Someday you guys will grow up and you'll embrace the state and you'll embrace taxes. You'll grow up. That's what Fred Parcells used to say, who was one of the statists who lives here in the Keene area, who claims he's the original Free Stater, which is really amusing. He moved here from New Jersey.
A lot of people moved here for more freedom, and there's no doubt about it. New Hampshire is a step up in freedom.
And then he became a
ways.
cop and then a code enforcement agent. So, no. I mean, maybe he was about his own personal freedom. By joining the gang, he has more freedom. But for the rest of us, many people have suffered at his hands. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to say, I tried this guy. I mean, he's a nice guy. We work together and stuff. But it's just, when I was having, and he served in the military, and so did his parents, and his relatives. And he said the typical statement that, Mark, you were having a conversation with one guy about the military, and he said the statement that most military people say, well, you haven't put on uniforms and you haven't served the country and you haven't shed blood, so you don't know what it's like. And I came back to him with the exact same thing that Mark once said to somebody. It kind of makes it seem like my opinion doesn't matter as much. And he's like, well, you haven't shed blood for your country. And it's just like, I'm just not going to get anywhere with this guy. I tried. I mean, I tried my best, but it just...
Right. As though most of the people that were in the military shed blood for their country. No. I mean, that's and this is the game that you simply cannot win. Well, have you been in the military? Yes, sir, I have. Well,
did you shed blood?
Did you get harmed? Were you in? Oh, I'm sorry. The next one's going to be: did you see combat?
Mm-hmm.
And if you did see combat, well, then did you either A, were you harmed, or B, were you one of the real combatants, or were you just one of the guys holding the line? Like, there is no way to actually, win this particular what you would call as a
measuring contest.
Who has the biggest one contest?
Hey, Mike, thanks for the call tonight. Sometimes it makes sense to just to just move on from a bad prospect. There's plenty of fish in the sea. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
Don't know what's in your drinking water? Better get a Pro Pure. With the Pro 1G 2.0 all-in-one filter, remove over 200 contaminants, including fluoride and lead. Taste water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of Pro Pure water filtration products. There's a Pro Pure system for you. Visit your authorized Pro Pure dealer for details on our current free shipping special or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is down $1 at $1,235 per ounce. Silver is 7 cents lower at $15.34 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $417 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping customers buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. How might we help you? Give us a call at 800-874-9760. or see us online at rrbi.co.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio waves here, toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us online over at freetalklive.com, and you can enjoy the features that we have waiting for you on the site. Plus, coming up, Keenvention is on the, not the near horizon, it's a ways away. It's going to be happening at the very beginning of November this year. It'll be past Halloween. So last year it was during the Halloween weekend. This one is going to be the weekend past that, the 4th through the 6th of November. which means that if you're cheap, you can go and get your Halloween costume the day after Halloween at like 50% off or 70% off or something like that, because you're gonna probably want one for the Halloween costume dance party that is going to be happening during Keenvention on
Guy Fawkes Day,
the 5th of November. So go to keenvention.info. You can grab your tickets now. They are down in price, by the way, because we're moving to a new venue right in the heart of downtown Keene.
You're welcome.
It's more affordable than the previous venue. And so, yes, the prices come down, and you can actually get even more money off by using code FTL when you check out through Eventbrite, and you'll save $5. So go to keenvention.info. It is going to be the most boycotted convention of all of the Liberty conventions here in New Hampshire. It was last year, and it's on track.
Hasn't it been boycotted every year by somebody for some reason?
Yeah, I think it has. Last year it was because of Chris Cantwell, who ended up not even speaking there.
And then a couple years ago, it was boycotted because he was there. And then the first year, I think it was boycotted just because it was Ian.
So let's go to Liberty Phoenix. He's on the line and on via Skype. Hello, Liberty Phoenix.
Good evening, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Welcome, sir. Go ahead.
So I'm calling to ask you guys if you think that Steiger's law applies currently to the FSP. And for those that aren't aware of what Steiger's law states, it's essentially, and in a nutshell, any organization that is created to further any idea or project at one point or another, and its existence will become more important to the individuals within that organization than the reason that it was created to promote. And would you guys say that the FSP has entered the realm of where Steiger's law would apply to it?
I'd say that happened a long time ago. Steiger's law is very real. I'm not even going to call it bad necessarily, but yeah, I mean, the notion is that the Free State Project is it's as a group is more important than sort of any one particular area of freedom or individual. And I'll point out that I've taken slings and arrows from the Free State Project and from members of the Free State signers of the Free State Project Statement of Intent, and with the intent of supporting the Free State Project. So I have participated in sort of Steiger's law around the Free State Project. I'd like to point out the first year of the Liberty Forum, I believe it was, Ron Paul was supposed to come and speak, and I was supposed to get the opportunity to introduce him on stage. Ian and I being the biggest celebrities the Free State Project had at the time, and then it comes out that I had spent some time in prison, and we don't want to have Ron Paul on the same stage with a guy who's been convicted of felonies.
What will people think?
What will people think?
Ron Paul worked in Congress with felons, although they had not been convicted.
And it seems like we're borne out because now 10 years later or whatever it's been, it's never been a particular issue. So whatever. But, at the time.
It's an issue to some people.
There's a huge kerfuffle. I don't think it is still.
There's still some people who will throw it out there. And usually it's the Stop Free Keeners or the local haters.
Yeah, it doesn't have any.
Mark's a murderer.
Nobody who has any attachment to sort of rhetoric or having a debate. I mean, this is a very base ad hominem attack. Yes, I went to prison. Yes, it was for murder. Yes, I was released by a order of the Florida Supreme Court. And yes, I had a confession from my co-defendant that, absolved me to some level.
Because you didn't kill anyone.
Nobody says anything about that crap.
Right.
All they do is read an old article from the time that it all occurred. Nobody wants any of the rest of the story.
And then the people...
Of course, research is too difficult.
The people also sort of base their entire premise on people never change. So, Mark Edge, you're the same person now at 45 or 50 or whatever it is that you were when you were 17 years old.
Ridiculous.
The same exact person. You have not made any improvements as a human being whatsoever.
So if you guys think that the FSP Incorporated has entered the realm of where Steiger's law would apply to it, what would you like to see happen to FSP Incorporated? Would you like to see it disbanded? And if so, what would that mean for the different, not fundraising, but the different things that happen in the FSP.
The Free
such
State
as
Project is
Pork
the idea of gathering liberty-minded people together in one place, and the FSP you're saying is the sort of the organization. There's a board of directors, and they do fundraising, and then they advertise the idea of the Free State Project. They put on a couple of different events each year: the Liberty Forum and the Porcupine Freedom Festival. One is a hotel convention, the other is a summertime camping festival, and that's pretty much all the FSP does.
Well, they'll tell you if you give them the opportunity that all they are is a bus.
Yeah.
And, a bus meaning that the idea is to get 20,000 people to move to New Hampshire. And at this point, the Free State Project first phase is to get 20,000 people to sign up. The second phase is
which they've completed.
To market to those 20,000 people to move to the state of New Hampshire. And then the third phase is shut off the bus. That's the notion, right? Like you don't take a bus from Tampa, Florida to Las Vegas, Nevada, and then live on the bus.
Well, Darryl might.
Darryl doesn't like himself a mobile home.
It depends. Do you own the bus or
no?
Okay,
the bus is owned by a bunch of other people who have other opinions.
You don't buy a ticket on the Greyhound bus, and then when you get to your final destination, say, "Okay, so I'm staying on the bus now." No. You get your butt off the bus.
So
now, hold on.
Yeah.
To answer your question, Liberty Phoenix, it's sort of flawed in that I really don't think about the FSP board that often.
Me neither.
I will think about the concept of the Free State Project and tell people, I moved to New Hampshire for this, and we're trying to get 20,000 people, and you're an awesome person. I think you should move.
Right.
And then, they'll come up, well, I've got this and that and this other thing that keeps me here, blah, blah, blah. All right, well, whatever. But I honestly don't think about the board of the FSP enough to have an opinion on whether or not I think or even care that Steiger's law applies.
I think that as far as your question, Liberty Phoenix, I don't care what happens to the Free State Project. If they continue on and people want to keep funding it, then that's fine. If they want to shut it down, then that's fine too. I think that there are events like the Porcupine Freedom Festival or the Liberty Forum. Anyone could pick that up. If the Free State Project dissolved tomorrow and somebody wanted to start the Porcupine Freedom Festival all over again, they could certainly do that. There would be no Sovereign Curtis isn't going to come in and sue them over using the term Porcupine Freedom Festival. And that's sort of an inside thing. There was this guy who organized Porkfest who tried to copyright the term or something at one point.
Even though he was organizing like the 9th or 10th one.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. So I don't really care. But, Mark, I don't know if you answered the question. Do you care, or how do you feel about what should happen to the Free State Project?
I think that the Free State Project at this point should, as the board, should be marketing to the 20,000 people who've signed up to move to the state of New Hampshire, and then they should do one of two things. They should either do what they said they were going to do and sort of shut things down. The Free State Project, in my opinion, the term Free Stater is an ad hominem of, not particularly valuable. I don't want to be known as one if I could avoid doing it, or they should set themselves up as even with a new name, basically, rebrand themselves as a Libertarian Chamber of Commerce for the state of New Hampshire, basically saying, "Hey, everybody."
God, that sounds dirty.
Well, that's what my suggestion is.
Well, what do you think, Liberty Phoenix, from over where you are in Illinois, calling tonight?
Oh, I'd love if we had an FSP here, but as far as its existence in New Hampshire, I think, it's got the 20,000 signers. Its usefulness seems to be running thin. I believe that the entire concept of it was great 10 years ago, but now it's unnecessary anymore, and I think it's more burdensome to the people that live there now than the benefit that it is giving.
I don't know if it's very burdensome. It really doesn't do very much. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And if you don't want to volunteer or give them money, you don't have to. It's Free Talk Live.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-945-9289. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-945-9289. That's 1-800-945-9289.
Hi, Pat Matthews again. I want to talk to you about selling online. And when I say selling, I'm talking about your home, your car, and even buying a house or a new set of wheels. There's a new kid in town, and that's buysellmakeoffer.com. The revolution has already begun, and I invite you to be a part of it. You see, get in on the ground floor because buysellmakeoffer.com never charges item fees. Can you imagine what the other guys might charge you for selling a car on their site, let alone a house? Well, buysellmakeoffer.com doesn't do that. And you can use Skype and YouTube videos to sell your products, big or small. Go right now to buysellmakeoffer.com and set up your account. For as little as $7.95 per month, you can sell up to 50 items, and they'll give you the first 30 days free just to try it out. Remember, no per item fees. Join the revolution today. buysellmakeoffer.com and tell them Pat Matthews sent you.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the radio here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We were talking about, was it Steiger's Law, I believe, is what Liberty Phoenix called in about, asking us about this idea that suggests that organizations, once they get to a certain point, spend more of their time and effort maintaining the organization than they do whatever it is the mission of the organization.
My first thought on that was Cancer Society.
There's so many. I mean, this applies to all kinds of things.
It does.
Right. I mean, not just he was calling about the Free State Project, but yeah, whatever the Cancer Society, whatever charities we're talking about, one of the things that people look at or should look at when they're looking at which charities to donate to is what kind of overhead the charity has. Sometimes you'll be shocked to find out, wasn't it Bono's charity or Bono that was like spending 90% or more on overhead costs, and only a few percentage points of their budget was actually going to whatever their charitable purpose was?
sounds right. I know one of those Feed the Children things was doing that, where the guy running it had this like $15 million mansion down in some Caribbean island.
Yeah. Well, he was feeding some children every now and then.
I don't know the specifics on any one of these particular charities, but there are ways to sort of check them out. The internet's been great for that.
Sure.
Obviously, there have been a lot of hustles in the past, but there are a lot of people trying to do good work at the same time.
No doubt. But you've got to agree, though, as the organization grows, it becomes more unwieldy, more bureaucratic, and more difficult to
Sometimes
maintain.
you have to have an organization of a certain size just to do the job. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
difficult
true.
to know how big the organization needs to be.
But it's frustrating because...
And there's always overhead. You can't
And infighting.
You can't get, when it comes to a charity, you can't get the 100% to the organization thing. Somebody's always got to pay for overhead. So even if the organization itself manages to get 100% of the money to people, somebody's paying for that overhead, likely some church.
Yeah, so if you want to share your comments, maybe you've experienced Steiger's Law in real life. If you've been involved in an organization of any size, you probably have. You're welcome to share your experiences. 855-450-FREE. Again, the quote here from howtogetmorerightanswers.com describes Steiger's Law as that people involved in a structure spend more time and energy maintaining that structure than in working toward its goals.
And I found this list of all these weird kinds of laws and theorems.
Yeah.
And Mark has definitely been under Cheop's law that says nothing ever gets built on schedule or within budget. Congratulations, homeowner.
Yep. That's how do you spell Cheop?
CHEOP.
Okay. So, yeah, you can
I
notice
like
here.
Parkinson's law, which is work expands to the amount of time allotted for it.
No doubt.
And this is absolutely true. You just don't allot the time for the crappy jobs.
You can also call us on Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. As we continue here, so right now, the folks over in Liberstad, well, it doesn't really exist yet. It's just in the idea phase, Liberstad. They're looking to acquire land.
It's a libertarian campground in Norway. Come on.
Well, they haven't purchased the land.
It's a proposed libertarian campground in Norway.
It's an idea at this point. They want to create a free town, basically, where you'll be able to do business as long as you're not using the Norwegian kroner. According to one of the organizers, you will not have to pay taxes, according to one of the people who's putting Liberstad together. They're also claiming that the nearby municipality is not charging property taxes. So what level of taxation there will be here remains to be seen. Quote from one of the founders is as follows. When it comes to businesses in Liberstad, there will be both legal and non-legal, not illegal, he says, businesses there. If you are planning on accepting Norwegian kroner for your services or goods, you will have to register a legal company in Norway. This might be the case if you want to have a business for tourists and visitors to Liberstad. But if you want to have a business specifically for the residents of Liberstad and you choose to only accept alternative currencies, there is no need for permits or registering a legal company, and earnings in alt currencies will not be tax collectible as long as you don't exchange it into Norwegian kroner. The earnings can be used to buy goods and services from other non-legal businesses in Liberstad that also accept alt currencies, he says. Now, the story comes from startupsocieties.com. They write, this opens up the exciting possibility of a commerce center that does not require government currencies to function. When I asked if there were any sensitive legal logistics that he would not necessarily want public, John replied, quote, the national government of Norway might not like the idea that we want to create a city and a society where we exclude them, but there's nothing illegal about it. Now, he's the one who lives there, so I'm going to take his word for it, but I find it hard to really believe that statement.
Well, I mean, you're taking it to its extreme. What he's talking about is sort of economic. So if you want to have build a little town and do business in Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever it is that you want to do,
right?
Then what he's saying is you don't have to pay tax on that. And tax is a big portion of freedom. However, what your mind immediately goes to is, can I walk down the street with an AK-47 strapped to my back while smoking a joint with no pants on? And the answer to that one
Please
is
wear
likely
pants because it's cold. There's snow in Norway all the time.
All the time. No, there's not.
This looks like the woods.
You might get frostbite
during
somewhere.
the summertime.
Okay, there's a week and a half where there's not snow.
That's true. Look, do you want people saying that crap about New Hampshire?
Norway's like 15 more degrees of latitude north of us.
Take a look at the Gulf Stream. Just go ahead and look that baby up, and you'll understand why the weather in Norway is about the same as it is in New Hampshire.
What?
The plan is to sell pre-sell plots of a quarter acre each. Cost is about $4,300 per lot.
That's not much for a lot, but there's likely nothing on the lot
That's
either.
correct.
I would call
woods.
that, if it wasn't for the idea, expensive.
Putting the price in U.S. dollars at around $17,200 per acre. Pre-sale buyers are guaranteed a plot, and
how much per acre? So
$17,200.
$4,300 per lot. And the lot is a quarter acre.
Okay.
Pre-sale buyers are guaranteed a plot, and plots will be chosen by the buyer after the land is purchased on a first-come, first-served basis. So it sounds like they're trying to collect money from people with which they will then buy the land on which they want to build the town. Now, obviously, this could go wrong in that you could send them $4,300 and never see it again.
Right.
Sure. So there's risk involved.
Some kind of ways, this sounds like a Kickstarter project.
Yeah.
To where you're sending them money and you hope that whatever project you're funding winds up actually meeting the goal and succeeding.
Well, the trick here is you need people, right? You need to build a community.
They're looking to sell 62 acres initially.
I hear you, and the sort of the difficulty is when you get enough people together, then your community can go south. People that are willing to move aren't always the people you want to necessarily live by.
Yep.
They've got some challenges. I like the direction they're going. I think they've got some interesting stuff going, but they've got some challenges at the same time.
They're going to need, if they want to sell 62 acres initially, they're going to need about $1 million. They're going to need to be able to raise $1 million from a couple hundred people. That's not unreasonable. I mean, as far as $1 million, that's not something you can't do. I mean, it's within the realm of possibility. Whether or not you can get $1 million out of the kind of people who are willing to go and rough it, because we're talking about the woods, right? So there's certain types of libertarians, right? There's the Jeffrey Tucker bow tie types who probably, they're not going to go to Liberstad except to visit.
He loves Porkfest. It's 1 week out of the year. This isn't going to be much different than that, by my estimation. I don't know for certain, but
then there's the people who want to get their hands dirty. They love to build things. They are that type of person. How many of the people who love to build things and want to get their hands dirty have the money that they would need to be able to seed this community? I don't know.
And then how many would have the money to get to Norway and then build something? No.
Right, because this is just the beginning of the cost. The $4,300 is just for the land, and then you've got to add in whatever other costs of travel and living there.
It's an 8-hour drive from Oslo. And when they say southern Norway, they mean that little nodule of land that is at the bottom of Norway, not the whip that hangs out at the top.
So what's the nearest city?
Nutton is the answer. But I mean, city. I can't answer that. I don't know much about cities in Norway, but this is not what I would call the most metropolitan of projects. I mean, it's not meant to be.
No, this is in the woods.
Yes.
They're interested in which is not a bad thing. It's just whether they can raise the money to do this is another question. So we'll be watching it as it develops, and certainly if you know more about it, please, if you're excited, if you're buying in, if you've already bought into this, toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. They're interested in a property that's been taken off the market and reserved for Liberstad. The founder plans to purchase the land by the summer of this year, even if that means taking out a loan. There are already 60 participants requesting land, and when that number reaches 100, John expects the project to be fully funded. So if they're more than halfway there, maybe I shouldn't be so skeptical. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. We'll talk more about Liberstad, and you can join us and bring up whatever's on your mind. It's Free Talk Live. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
Have you felt different almost your entire life? Like the way things are run never made any sense? They've tried to get you to believe that you couldn't handle making all of your own decisions, that your lives had to be governed by a set of rules based on punishing everyone for the mistakes of a few. It's been a long journey, but the Free State Project has finally met its goal of 20,000 participants. Early movers have already accomplished so much, but we still need your help to show the world we can build a shining beacon of liberty. Stop making excuses and join us here in New Hampshire. Visit freestateproject.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, March 16th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.25 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $420. Antiwar.com reports a day after the opening of the Syrian peace talks in Geneva, UN officials say that the Syrian government and a major rebel faction have each submitted position papers outlining their respective expectations for a settlement of the ongoing civil war and looking for any common ground between them. UN officials would not say anything about the chances of doing that, but did say that the withdrawal of Russian troops and warplanes from Syria is also bolstering expectations for a significant development towards a peace deal. Syrian rebels threw that suggestion out the window, however, saying the morale is sky high after Russia's pullout and that they believe an outright military victory is now in sight on the assumption that Assad cannot survive without Russian involvement. The expectations for the Syrian talks started pretty low after a previous round of talks ended in disaster, with both sides arguing with the UN over the point of whether the talks ever actually began at all. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump has won Tuesday's winner-take-all primary in Florida, apparently dealing a knockout blow to Senator Marco Rubio, who has suspended his campaign. But Trump, who was also projected to win in Illinois and North Carolina, failed to capture the other major prize of the night in Ohio, where the state's two-term governor, John Kasich, has scored his first win of the race. While Kasich was able to defend his home turf, Rubio could not, and it forced him out of the race while giving Trump a major boost. Trump's Florida victory comes in one of the two winner-take-all delegate states for the Republicans. He earned all of Florida's 99 delegates to the GOP convention in Cleveland, and all but ensures that he will finish the night the delegate winner in 5 states holding primaries on Tuesday. During his Ohio victory speech, Kasich sought to position himself as a less bombastic alternative for conservative voters. The victory in his home state, where for 18 years he has served as either a congressman or governor, governor is a powerful moment for Kasich and, more importantly, for the Stop Trump movement, as it denies Trump any of the 66 delegates that were at stake in the winner-take-all contest. Late Tuesday night, Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton was projected to win Ohio, Florida, and North Carolina primaries and significantly boost her lead over Bernie Sanders in the delegate tally. A huge number of voters in the Sunshine State cast early ballots by mail, allowing election officials to deliver quick tallies on Tuesday night. With those votes already cast, Clinton was projected to win with more than 65% of the vote. The Libertarian Party also held primaries on Tuesday, with Gary Johnson narrowly defeating No Preference in the North Carolina contest featuring 11 candidates. In Missouri, Uncommitted edged out Austin Peterson, who was looking to win the non-binding primary in his home state.
You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com.
Reuters reports a congressional panel on Tuesday criticized the Environmental Protection Agency and Michigan officials for failing to do more to sound the alarm about high levels of lead in the city of Flint's drinking water. Representative John Chaffetz, a Utah Republican who chairs the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, said government at every level, local, state, and federal, made poor decisions. The crisis has drawn national attention and led to calls for Michigan Governor Rick Snyder to resign. It has also led to several lawsuits in state and federal courts and federal and state investigations. Governor Snyder and EPA Administrator Gina McCarthy are scheduled to testify before the same panel on Thursday. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
According to a groundbreaking study on anxiety disorders published this week in the New England Journal of Medicine, researchers have discovered that feelings of anxiety can be completely resolved as long as people think about them real hard.
After studying subjects with mild to chronic anxiety disorders, we found that the best way to overcome mental stress is to isolate the root of the anxiety, analyze it from every possible angle, and then think about it nonstop until it completely disappears.
Researchers worked with numerous subjects in the middle of high-stress scenarios and said the key to overcoming anxiety is to start by focusing on a minor problem, list everything that can go wrong in the worst-case scenario, and then repeat that list in your head 200 times. After anywhere between 3 to 6 hours of perpetually torturing yourself over things outside of your control, all feelings of anxiety will completely disappear, and you can finally enjoy the remainder of your day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're talking about Liberstad. It's an idea to create a free town in the southern forests of Norway. We're getting the details from the founder as far as how he envisions this will be. The toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. It's yet another in a long series of Liberty projects. The Free State Project, of course, being the most successful of all, with now over 1,600 people having made the move to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project. The idea being to gather libertarians and voluntarists, liberty-loving anarchists, all together into the same geographic area. And New Hampshire was chosen as the destination for the Free State Project. There have been a myriad of other imitators, most of whom who have crashed and burned and never really gone anywhere. But Liberland is still kind of floating out there. We haven't gotten an update from Liberland in a little bit. Maybe there's news about that we haven't seen. We'll look into that. But Liberstad is different from Liberland. Liberland is between Serbia and Bosnia, right? Is that right?
Croatia, I believe.
Okay, Serbia and Croatia. And then Liberstad is in Norway. We're going to get into more of the details here. With you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
And Darryl.
And let's go to Tim. He is in Wyoming, listening via TuneIn. Hello, Tim.
Hey, gentlemen. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Now, I don't know if you talked about this yet tonight, but the blessed dictator has made a choice for the Supreme Court, And I heard you talking earlier about open carry, about you're talking about Second Amendment, First Amendment all the time, but basically the person who's looking to fill the space right now, or who our dictator is looking to fill the space on the court, is an anti-Second Amendment proponent. So we're looking at a shift again in the Supreme Court. Now, as far as your Free State Project goes, I mean, I'm not putting that down or anything, but you're still inside the boundaries of the United States of America. So you still have to follow some of the. For now, I mean, if you want to say for now, you can say that, but I mean, if you
say it for now.
Well, okay. Will you be able to secede from the United States? Is that the ultimate goal of the Free State Project?
No,
that's the goal for some of us.
Yeah, not for the Free State Project as an organization. The Free State Project just exists to promote liberty-minded people moving to New Hampshire and getting active, some of whom agree with secession, others do not. So, Darryl,
I don't think I particularly agree with it, but yeah, go on with your point about
you're chicken.
I just don't think it's practical. Go on with your point about the Supreme Court justice, if you would.
Well, the Supreme Court justice, his position is such that he will change the fundamental. He will change the decisions, or try to reverse the decisions that have been made that have actually gone more towards freedom than away from freedom. So that's why I'm bringing this up. And as I said, I don't know whether or not you'd brought it up earlier today, or
no, I haven't talked about it because I don't know that much about the guy. When I've read the reports that I've read, have basically either characterized him as centrist or leftist. But the left,
I can tell you this: he's a statist, whoever he is.
Well,
doesn't matter what his politics are, whether he's a Republican or a Democrat. Anybody who they nominate is going to be not pro-freedom.
Right.
Well, in all likelihood, what you're saying, Ian, is true. Is that he is a statist because he's actually okay. This is the townhall.com, the townhall.com report news report that I was reading actually while I was on hold. They were saying it was saying that he was sent to Oklahoma City to prosecute Timothy McVeigh, who they've singled out, who supposedly single-handedly blew up the Murrah building in Oklahoma City, which we know isn't true. Now, it doesn't say alleged.
Well, I don't know. I've heard some rumors and conspiracy theories, and they're interesting, but I don't know what the truth is.
Well, there's a lot of truth floating around out there. Unfortunately, I'm not saying you're ignoring it, but there's a lot of truth out there that most people are not aware of. So
this guy is a former prosecutor.
He's okay. Well,
which means he's scum, scum of the earth.
Well, it's a possibility.
I guess what I don't understand is why people care, because whoever it is that's going to be nominated is going to be a scumbag, because that's how the federal government is. You don't get to be a federal judge to where you then get appointed to the Supreme Court. You don't get to the point of being a federal judge unless you are a total statist who is going to do what the government's bidding is.
Well, I agree with you in principle in that case, but I can't. Everybody should be judged on their own merits. Okay, possibly his merits.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. That much is true. But I'm going to go ahead and presume, until proven otherwise, that if you're a federal judge, you're a low life.
Well,
you will throw peaceful people in a prison cell because they violated some nonsense law. Huh?
How about innocent until proven guilty? How about that? I mean,
it's proof enough that they work for the federal government as a judge. That's enough proof.
I think Ian's obviously going to assume that everybody who works within the state apparatus is guilty until proven innocent, and that's his MO.
I understand that. Yeah,
what I would, however, do is I'm just kind of interested in seeing what Obama wants to do here, because the political thing for him to do is to appoint somebody that is marginally acceptable to the Republicans, because then he is more likely to get this hearing that he believes is constitutional or whatever, or he can appoint somebody who is unpalatable and then make the Republicans attempt to make the Republicans look bad for not having the hearing, which is a stupid hearing in the first place, because to have a hearing and say no is the equivalent of not having a hearing.
Well, that's true. That's true. But when the hearing has, well, it doesn't have to happen. Okay, they can choose to ignore the fact that this person's been nominated by somebody who only is nominating the person to destroy what has been built, the foundations of liberty, if you
But he's
will.
not going to get it.
The foundation.
This guy isn't going to slide through in the dark of night. The Republicans don't want to let him through.
What
That's what I'm
foundations
saying.
of liberty? What liberty?
The foundations of liberty are crumbling. Okay,
The courts, more often than not, rule on the side of the state, no matter what the issue is.
I'm saying that our country was based upon a foundation of liberty. That's what I'm saying. Now, the foundations of liberty that our country
Tell
was
that
built
to the
upon
slaves.
Okay. Let's not go into the slavery aspect because other
Okay,
countries
we'll
have
conveniently
slaves
ignore
too.
that for the purposes
No,
of you
we
making
won't.
your point.
We're
Go
not-
ahead.
We're not ignoring that. The fact is that it did happen here. Yes, and other countries had it too. And yes, we abolished it.
You can't really call that a
Yes,
foundation
Ian,
of liberty.
would you stop this? I mean, I just don't understand your point here. There are better and there are worse Supreme Court justices. They are not an equal shade of crap.
To me, they are.
No, they're not. Well, that's because of your ignorance.
No.
You're looking
Some
for the glass.
food doesn't
hold on
stink
just a
as
second.
bad.
Wait a second. How many Supreme Court justices are there? Wait a second. I'm
Right now
asking you
there are
questions.
8.
Okay. And
There are 8
can you
right now,
name
right.
some of them for me?
Sotomayor is
That's a
one
good
of
one.
them.
That's a new one.
Scalia.
Okay, Scalia's dead.
Okay.
He's the guy that just died.
See, this is the point: is you can't name more than
I
one
don't need
Supreme
to know
Court.
who they are. They're scum. They're trash. They support the government. They work for the state. They do the state's bidding. They back the state up. They increase the size of the police state. I got nothing good to say about these people. I don't care who they are.
Since the guy
Robert
did call in
Kennedy,
about...
Thomas.
Since the call was about this guy that got nominated,
Ginsburg?
Merrick Garland, I'm looking at the wiki article, and SCOTUS blog apparently says that he tended to take a broader view of First Amendment rights. So that's kind of good. In cases
broader
related
mean
to FOIA request, he's ruled in favor of government transparency. However, there was a court hearing in 2003 in which Judge Garland voted unanimously, along with his fellow judges there in the D.C. Court of Appeals, that the courts do not have the authority to hear legal challenges from prisoners in Guantanamo Bay.
So again, all of these people are going to have their ups and their downs, but for the most part, it's downs because the government is not getting more free over time. We're not getting more liberty out of the Supreme Court. Thanks for the call, Tim. I appreciate hearing from you. And ultimately, what he thinks, I don't really care. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
Yeah, Free Talk Live. Ian doesn't care what you have to say.
Whoever wins, that's not what I said. I said I don't care who this person is. You can have whatever opinion you want, and you can share it with us. 855-450-FREE, but whoever wins will lose.
Imagine your life 5 years from now. Are you on the path you want to be on? It's time to take control of your future by getting a world-class education from one of the nation's top universities. Arizona State University is now offering over 100 top-tier degree programs 100% online. It's the exact same degree our on-campus students receive, but you can learn from anywhere in the country on your own schedule. For information, call 1-800-939-9426. Learn from ASU's world-renowned faculty and use ASU's global recognition to improve your visibility, professional network, and gain real-world experience you can start using today. The Wall Street Journal ranked ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates. Now discover how ASU Online can stand out on your resume and help separate you from the competition. We're ready to help you learn to thrive in your life, in your career, and beyond. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-939-9426. That's 1-800-939-9426.
Biochemistry determines your mood, memory, energy, and endurance. Your body's primary metabolic function is to make protein. One World Whey is a unique, non-denatured protein. This enables your body to have virtually 100% utilization, whereas typical whey protein powders offer no more than 18% utilization of protein. One World Whey also delivers life-giving frequencies to your cells. The net result for so many people is improved energy, mood, and elimination of pain from inflammation.
This technologically enhanced One World Whey has been really amazing for me. I'm 36 years
years old, and for the past several years, I've been struggling with lack of energy, drive, and stamina. And after just 2 weeks on this product, I'm feeling so much more energy. My yoga practice has deepened, and as a massage therapist, I'm able to see more clients than I've been able to in years. I've never felt results that quick with anything I've ever taken.
Call 888-988-3325 or visit oneworldway.com. That's oneworld.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. And we're talking about Liberstad, the plan to turn some of the forests of Norway, the southern portion of Norway, about 60 acres worth of it, into a thriving freedom zone. And will it succeed? Well, so far the organizer says he's got interest from 60 possible investors and is looking for at least 100. And so we'll tell you more about what's going on with this plot that is being hatched. You can also join us at 855-450-FREE, and you can bring up whatever happens to be on your mind. 855-450-3733. It's Free Talk Live.
Super Beets. It's a superfood that it's a powder that you mix with water, or Darryl, you take it, you mix it with a smoothie, make it into a smoothie.
Start in a smoothie.
Yep.
I recently ran out, and you have not.
I'm working on getting you some more, buddy.
Refill.
I know what it's like not to have your Super Beets, and I feel similarly. So what it's got in is all natural dietary nitrates, and they're sourced from non-GMO beets, and they help boost my circulation, support my healthy blood pressure naturally. I feel the energy and stamina boost within 20 minutes, and it's good for your I guess I should say the nitric oxide, which are generated by the dietary nitrates, are good for your circulatory system. They're good for your cardiovascular health, and if you're over the age of 40, this is something you need to be concerned with. This isn't just another supplement. You need to investigate this. And the best way to investigate it is start out at ftlbeats.com. Now, if you don't feel the results, if you don't see the results, I'm seeing them all the time. I know it's working for me. But if you don't experience that, you don't pay. It's guaranteed. You get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get the nitric oxide indicator strips to show that it's working. Plus, you get the free book, Beat the Odds booklet, I think is the best way to describe it, about 50 pages. And all of it comes with free shipping. FTLbeats.com, 800-951-8940. FTLbeats.com, 800-951-8940. I can't recommend it highly enough.
More about Liberstad on the way. Let's first go to Skype, where David is on the line in Keene, New Hampshire. Hello, David.
Hi.
Hey, you're on the air.
I'm wondering, I was going to talk about the FSP separation real quick, if I can.
The Free State Project separation, you mean like the blog post that was made over at freetalklive.com and freekeen.com late last night announcing that Free Talk Live is releasing the Free State Project from any obligations they have with the agreements with Free Talk Live, with an agreement with Free Talk Live, meaning releasing them from their side of the agreement, if that's what they want.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not real clear on what that actually means in like, on air. I know that Ian speaks very genuinely, enthusiastically about, Liberty Forum and PorcFest. Are you going to be like banned from doing that now, or that's like against?
Well, we don't know what the Free State Project is going to do. There are a group of people who are attempting to pressure, and you know this, David, but I'm explaining for our audience that there's a group of people within the Free State Project, members, early movers in the Free State Project, who are trying to pressure the Free State Project board members and others into ostracizing, or rather disassociating, I think is the word that they used.
No punishment is too outlandish for some folks.
No doubt.
As far as they're concerned.
But the official petition that they're promoting asks for the Free State Project to disassociate from Free Talk Live, LRN.FM, and freekeen.com. And so ultimately, if that's what the Free State Project decides to do, and we don't know what they're going to decide to do, but if that's what they decide to do, then that would essentially end the agreement that we had between Free Talk Live and the Free State Project.
Not only that, but, and I realize some people are going to say that I need to read the petition. I've read your damned petition, and I understand the definitions of words. If the Free State Project says, yes, we agree with this petition, everybody disassociated, then that would mean that everybody that has any sort of connection to Free Talk Live, LRN, or Free Keen would not be allowed at the Porcupine Freedom Festival or the Liberty Forum, because when you disassociate with someone, you don't then allow them to come into your house.
Well, that's not what they're specifically asking for. There's, I understand that it's somewhat nebulous what you're, so what they're saying in their, what they're saying in their petition. But it doesn't. It's not actually what they're saying. What they're saying is
it's not what they are intending to ask for, but it is what they're asking for.
Fine.
It's just like
some of them would want that. They would want a full-on ostracism campaign, and not allowing us at their events.
I read a lot of legislation, and I've seen legislation where the person writing it intends to ask for one thing, but they've written it in such a way as to where they make everything illegal. That's not what they intended, but that's what winds up happening. So again, words have meaning.
So, but that's just a petition. We don't know what ultimately the Free State Project is going to decide to do, David. So at this point, it's still kind of up in the air. I'm expecting that we are not going to be live from the Porcupine Freedom Festival. That's my expectation here. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, did any word from any officials at the Free State Project convey anything to anybody regarding the petition and stuff?
Well, we know that they are having conversations about this. I mean, there are people within the Free State Project who are kind of high-ranking, if you will. There are people who have assisted with organizing the Liberty Forum and the Porcupine Freedom Festival who are anti-Free Talk Live and LRN and Free Keen. And so there's a lot of pressure in there on the folks on the board of directors, and I'm sure they all think slightly differently about this, and they've yet to come up with any kind of decision, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to just sort of get out in front of this. This was a long time coming. Mark, you cited one example earlier of when feathers were ruffled by you within the Free State Project, and I've ruffled feathers a number of times over the years, and there have been several different incidents where it seems like it's almost happened that there's been a breakup between both organizations, and so you could say it's been a long time coming. But
we've never considered getting rid of the Free State Project. I just think that their goals have changed, and since their goals have changed, what's the point in being all, excited about, continuing the relationship? No big deal.
Well, personally, I don't want them to be in the position where they have to feel like they're choosing between one side or another.
That's why we did this.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I don't want. These are people who, for the most part, I like. Whether they like me or not is another question. But I don't really care about that. I tend to like most everybody, and so I don't want them to be in this awkward place where there's this vitriolic, angry group who is frothing at the mouth to attack Free Talk Live, and they've been doing that, by the way, in a variety of different ways, where they're pressuring these people socially very heavily. And we're not, of course, pressuring anybody. We're like, hey, you guys should do what you want, and here, we're going to make it easier for you by saying we're just letting you go from any kind of obligations you might have had to us under this contract. Because we did an agreement with the Free State Project that sort of specified details about, what do we do in return for, or what do they give us in return for us broadcasting from their events, basically a couple of hotel rooms. And essentially a top-level sponsorship of the event. So we get our name up there, and we get some hotel rooms out of it. And so that's the agreement we're letting them out of, basically. Did I explain that correctly? So there you go, David. Thank you for the call tonight. You can learn more about it over at the Free Keene blog at freekeene.com. I posted up the story last night. And so if you want to learn more, there you go. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Coming up here, we'll talk more about Liberstad. Not a big enough organization to have any splinters yet out there. This is Free Talk Live.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City was created by New Hampshire liberty activist Christopher David. When he publicized the idea in January 2016, he hoped to recruit 100 drivers by the end of the month. Instead, he blew past his goal with over 1,300 drivers signing up in just 2 weeks. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and is disrupting the already disrupted transportation industry. If you want to get involved, you can join as a rider or a driver. To ride with Arcade City, visit arcaderide.freetalklive.com. To drive with Arcade City, visit arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com to drive, or arcaderide.freetalklive.com to ride with Arcade City.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is down $1 at $1,235 per ounce. Silver is 7 cents lower at $15.34 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $417 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping customers buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. How might we help you? Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or see us online at rrbi.co.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Months after identifying the elusive Higgs boson particle, scientists at CERN in Geneva, Switzerland have announced that they've completely run out of things to do with their Large Hadron Collider.
We've tried some time travel stuff, but it doesn't really work. Black holes, but we already know like a ton about those. Last week we threw a bird in there. Honestly, We thought it would take way longer to find the Higgs boson.
Director General of CERN, Rolf Dieter Hauer, told reporters that while they, quote, might be able to figure out some more about quarks or something, for the most part, his team has spent much of the past year throwing pennies into the machine and turning it on to see if the pennies come out smushed.
We might just start building a larger hadron collider. Yeah, maybe a bigger collider for smaller hadrons or something. I don't know.
CERN has announced on their website that if anyone out there has any fun ideas for experiments, you can email them to ideas@largehadroncollider.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Tonight, you've got Ian with you.
And Mark.
And Darryl.
And if you are not yet private on the Internet, there are steps you can take in order to become more private. ProXPN's a good one. It's a virtual private network. They encrypt your data right from your computer or mobile device. And whatever device you're using, they likely have a ProXPN waiting for you, whether it's Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, or you've got Linux support as well. So go to proxpn.com to get started. ProXPN, by the way, keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever. And if you're a Windows user, you can ask ProXPN about changing your DNS settings for even greater anonymity. At ProXPN, they accept credit card and even Bitcoin. And if you use the code FTL50, you'll get 50% off the regular monthly price for the lifetime of your annual account. It can end up being cheaper per month than a good cup of coffee. So use the Internet the way it was meant to be used. Go to proxpn.com right now, use code FTL50, and take back the privacy that is your right. proxpn.com, code FTL50. Now, I don't imagine there's much Internet available at the moment in the area where Liberstad is going to be created, at least if the founders get their way and are able to sell 62 acres of property, mostly in advance. They did say if they get enough interest, they might just go ahead and take out a loan to go ahead and buy the full plot of land that they're looking for, which strangely, when you look at the map that they provide on their website, I believe it is Liberstad. Is it .org? .com. Liberstad.com. The map, it seems to have two sort of long parts, vertical areas, and I don't know why they would not have it all contiguous. Why would you split the free town that you're making into two? That's not explained here so far, but I'm sure someone will be asking them that.
It's got an island.
The portions that they're trying to buy have an island?
I don't know.
There's a lake in part of it, and there appear to be islands in the lake.
Well,
There's
some of
also
the
an
difficulty
abandoned
is
farm
that
as well.
I'm not entirely certain of everything I'm seeing here. So the property appears to, these blue lines appear to take up part of this town called Tredgeland or something like that, Tedgeland. So I don't know what I'm looking at here. Is this are we certain that these are the pieces of land? I don't know that. I just don't know.
Yeah, it's not clear.
Well, it's not in English.
Well, it's not? Okay. I guess I haven't looked through their full website. It may be John Holmesland's first go at growing a society from scratch, says startupsocieties.com, but he's been in the construction industry for 15 years and is confident in his abilities. Like many others in the liberty movement, John struggled to find an outlet where he could feel free without becoming a hermit. This is what he had to say, quote, "Since becoming an anarchist about 6 or 7 years ago, it's been bothering me more and more that I was living in a statist community in a political town where I couldn't really relate to my neighbors or do anything about the things that were bothering me." And I imagine, by the way, a lot of libertarians, voluntarists, anarchists feel the same way. They feel alone. They feel frustrated. They feel that like they can't have an effect on things. And that, of course, is why the Free State Project came about and has been pretty successful so far. Going on, though, he says, and I didn't enjoy my work as much anymore as I was forced to fund the very things that I was against. So my initial plan was to buy a farm in a remote area in the countryside and move there with my family, start living off-grid and just distance myself and my family from the government as much as we could and pay as little tax as possible. But I wasn't entirely happy with that plan, and I didn't want to distance me and my family from other people. So he wants to get other people to move out into the farm in the woods.
I'm with him. I certainly want the people that I want to be around.
We're social people. So people are social.
There's a difficulty to this. When you try something like that, there's going to be some people that you don't like that move out too.
That's true. We've seen that happen here in New Hampshire.
Yeah, there's lots of people that don't like you.
There have been some undesirables who have moved here and have caused some problems. Some people think I'm one of them.
Well, and most of the good thing about that circumstance is those undesirables rent, here in town or whatever.
Most of them end up leaving.
Right. Well, they do. Yeah. Renters can leave relatively easily. Owners have a much more difficult time leaving.
Yeah, they are looking to sell these plots of land.
You're asking people to go in at least $50,000 on a cabin here, likely.
I'm not asking, but this guy is.
Right. Well, this guy is. I guess I'm speaking to him in a rhetorical fashion. So they're going to have to sell that, and are they going to want to sell at a loss? And it's also I think it's the worst part about these projects, including the Free State Project, is hey, come hang out with us. Except for you jerk. Get out of here. Like that thing that kind of happens in these circumstances is you.
That's people, though, man.
It is. It absolutely
would move
is.
to the jerk-hole project?
Right. Well,
if you're a complete a-hole and you can't get along with anybody, come hang out with us because we're complete a-holes, too.
It turns out that's kind of what it's like.
Well, it's people. I mean, look, this one of the objections to the Free State Project is, there's drama. Well, there's not really that much drama. It just looks bigger than it actually is on Facebook. And further, because again, people behave differently in real life than they do on Facebook. Maybe they'll talk about people behind their backs in real life, and then on Facebook they'll just do it openly. But that's just people. People don't get along with one another. I'm sorry. But anybody who's been in the Libertarian Party knows this. If your Libertarian Party grows to, 10 people, you're going to have disagreements. There are going to be people who are fighting over the most petty things. If you ever want to be just completely demoralized, go and sit in on any state Libertarian Party's business session where they talk about bylaws and the party platform, and then just watch as they fight for 3 hours or whatever over the whether the word "and" should appear or the comma before the or whatever. It just gets so petty and so ridiculous. And this is back to the Steiger's law that we were talking about before, where these people are spending a lot of time maintaining their organization and trying to tweak it in just the right ways that they want to tweak it so it can look more like what they want it to look like, rather than going out and doing libertarian outreach, going out and pressing the flesh, meeting the public, and handing people things and paperwork, or not paperwork, but flyers and information. And
flyers kind of is paperwork.
Yeah, giving out DVDs. Well, paperwork suggests you have to do something with it, but
well, you want the person to do something with the flyer because it's got a membership form. It should have, if it's a good flyer, part of the flyer is the membership form. You hopefully want the people to fill out the membership form and mail it in.
I was doing more general liberty outreach, even when I was with the Libertarian Party, just introducing people to the ideas of liberty. But again, that's what we're talking about here, is the infighting. It's been going on forever. So no one should be surprised that there's infighting within the Free State Project. And I fully think that when it comes to a schism, that people should embrace the schism as much as they can. Meaning, if people are splitting, don't try to hold them together. Let them split. Let them go off in their separate directions. Start another party. We did that here in New Hampshire. We started the New Hampshire Liberty Party because we weren't satisfied with the way the Libertarian Party was. Rather than go into the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire and try to argue that they should add some sort of platform or plank to their platform about secession and, fight forever with the existing party members.
Well, until 2 months ago, the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire did not have a platform.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm saying, though. Rather than going and trying to change the party, we just went ahead and started our own thing.
I've come to agree with your point about schisms, Ian. The holding folks together in sort of artificial groups, and that's what most groups are, artificial, right, is just sort of pointless. If you don't particularly need somebody in your group, why try to make them stay? This is kind of the point with, for the Free Talk Live freeing the Free State Project from whatever contracts they might have is that, hey, I don't think the Free State Project needs Free Talk Live like they did before they hit the 20,000 number. And what's the point in forcing everybody to do everything. If they want to pay us to come to their events, let's talk. If you don't, fine. Have a wonderful time. Because
it's a great event. I think people should still go to it, even if we don't end up being at the Porcupine Freedom Festival. It's a great event.
It's a wonderful event, but I got to say, I spend a lot of money to go, and I don't always feel like I need to do that.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's a
you might not have to.
It's a sizable financial commitment for my family to go.
Meaning that you can't do as much earning for your family while you're on the
It's
campground.
not just earning, but you've got to spend money on all the food that's
true.
there.
You do have to spend
Prepared food costs significantly more than
that's true.
Store food.
Toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Liberstad. We got more to say about that coming up.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom in the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market. The gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us. We're on the radio here. 855-450 free is the number. 855-450-3733, or Skype into the show. Skype username's LRN.FM. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And Darryl.
If you like what we do on Free Talk Live, please become a Free Talk Live amplifier over at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote, and the idea is you send $5 a month into the show via any major credit card through PayPal, Visa, or MasterCard right on our website, or Bitcoin, and Free Talk Live will invest that into Free Talk Live so we can get on more radio stations around the country, bring more internet listeners on board, expand our satellite coverage around the globe, putting the ideas of liberty into more people's ears around the world. So you can help us with that and get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only Facebook group, which is a lot of fun, and more. Go and get all the details. Get signed up at amp.freetalklive.com. We'll talk more about Liberstad, but first we go to Tim, listening in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Tim.
This is Ken.
Sorry, Ken.
How you doing, Ian?
Go ahead, sir.
No problem. So I was calling in. You guys were talking about how like groups somehow suddenly get too big, and there's a lot of people who all of a sudden I think feel alienated from what the original intent of that group was.
Yep.
And you kind of mentioned how the Free State Project, how they hit their 20,000 and they're kind of alienating you guys now at this point.
Well, the Free State Project, the board has done nothing, but there are some people in the Free State Project that that think that that's enough.
So, so I was kind of just calling in. So I moved here from New York as a member of the Free State Project, and I think it's more than just the size of the group. I think there's some actions of like vocal members who make people who, like me, who want to be part of the group, kind of off-put from it because of, like, the biggest thing I can think of is that was a focal point was the Robin Hooding, which I thought was a great idea at the front of it, and I thought it was taken too far, and all of a sudden I can't support something like that anymore.
What was too far about it?
Yeah, what happened that was too far? Was it just that the reaction of the town, or was there some action that was too far?
You're referring to the Robin Hooding, which is feeding expired parking meters before a meter maid can go and put a ticket on someone's window.
Right. I think that's a great idea, and I think it's even a great idea to tell the meter maid that we're going to beat you to every meter. But I think the antagonizing needs to end at that point, and I think people need to understand that when you go beyond that, you do a disservice in terms of public image to what people elsewhere are trying to do.
Yeah, it's frustrating, right? Like, so the people that are out there willing to go out and do the activism of Robin Hooding aren't us, and so they don't handle the situation.
You mean you and the caller?
Right.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to handle the situation exactly as we would handle it. However, I would point out...
That's not what I'm saying, Mark. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, there's an acceptable point in just human discourse and where you can make your point, and then when you go beyond that, you have to understand that people are going to be turned off to what you're trying.
I'm clear on that. I'm clear. There's an acceptable level of human discourse, and by your standard and by my standard, and I tend to agree. However, the difficulty is that you and I aren't willing to do the activism. It's the people that are willing to do the activism that are doing it, and it got a whole bunch of press. And
more so than any other Free State Project activism.
It seems like the city has has a better platform. The activists, what they don't show is what raging a-holes the meter maids were, and what they were doing. Nobody ever seems to care. It's like these people are a force of nature. It's like they're bears in the woods and they just react. But they never get held to account.
I gotta disagree here,
Mark,
Tim.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I just want to comment here on what you've been saying, Tim. Is that as a Robin Hooder? I'm sorry, Ken. As a Robin Hooder, as one of the 6 people who's been sued by the city of Keene over doing this activity, I'm pretty intimately familiar with it. And I got to say, most of the Robin Hooders I've ever experienced have not been mean. They have not been nasty in the streets. There are a couple of videos, one in particular involving Christopher Cantwell, who's not
never a Robin Hooder,
who's not officially a Robin Hooder, who was out kind of giving the meter maid a hard time. And what I'm wanting to say here is, this is activism. When you go out there and you do something in public. You do something in public and you invite other people to join you, you can't control who shows up. What you can do is you can try to speak to them. You can try to give them new ideas on how to do this better. You can do that. But if they ignore you, ultimately, there's really not much you can do besides publicly decry their actions, which is what some people are doing about me right now, because they don't like some of the things that I've done, because they feel like it makes their job harder at whatever activism they're trying to do. Of course, rather than focus on improving themselves and their methods, they focus on attacking the people who are out there doing things that they don't like. Personally, I don't attack other people for their activism. I think that you should do whatever it is that you feel is right. And
I'm not attacking other people. I'm just saying it makes it difficult for me to associate with those people when there's a negative.
Okay, that's fine. We don't all need to associate with one another. I mean, I don't know if I've ever met you.
No. It's all voluntary, and I totally agree with that. Yeah. It's all voluntary. But
I don't need to know all 1,500 or 2,000 or however many free staters there are here. I don't need to know them all. I know already that not all of them like me, so it doesn't really matter to me whether I get to know or meet every single one of them. We don't all have to work together. We can all work on different projects that we all find to be interesting and worth our time, and not really spend it worrying about other people.
Let me ask you this about Robin Hooding. Was it, on the whole, positive or negative?
I think it was the coolest idea in the world. I think it was the greatest public outreach that could have been done. And I think it was bungled in the application of it.
Why?
What specific parts were bungled?
Just mostly the PR aspect of it. And I think people just have to have a better understanding of
what PR was. What was the problematic? What was problematic about the PR?
Ian, come on, Ian. Don't play dumb. You understand the way it was spun. You guys were on the Colbert Report about this.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
I thought that was stupid.
No, but you guys were spun as being complete not nice people.
Idiots.
Not nice people.
Okay.
And what it could have been spun as is you guys have been great people.
But we were also on. Hold on. You're ignoring all of the Good Morning America reports and the MSNBC and the Fox and the international reports that were absolutely suggesting that we were doing good things. The majority of the media coverage was positive towards Robin Hooding, and that upset many of the haters here in Keene because it bugged the hell out of them. Like, these Robin Hooders are terrible. How dare Good Morning America make them look like heroes? So you're selectively choosing one particular piece of media that you didn't like.
Which you chose, too. I mean, you could have said no thanks.
It's funny. Because we have a good sense of humor, unlike some libertarians who can't handle having their philosophy made fun of.
I don't know why you got to yell. I mean, I'm just telling you.
I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at Mark. Don't take it personal.
Okay. No, that's not you.
I'm used to it. That's what I get paid for, buddy.
Sometimes that happens.
So, Tim, look, Ken, I'm sorry. This is what happens, okay? When you do activism that has an impact, it's going to get media coverage. And some of the people in the media are going to make fun of you. Some of the people in the media are going to find things to nitpick about you. And others of them are going to laud you, and they're going to appreciate you. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, my friend. You can either not do activism and stay below the radar, or you can put yourself out there and then become subject to criticism.
You don't have to put yourself on a national show that's whole purpose is to make fun of libertarians. I mean, I have to agree that was a poor choice.
Well, the Colbert Report's whole purpose is to make fun of everybody.
Exactly.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
They are gentle with the leftists.
They made everybody except for the city councilor look like a complete a-hole.
Yeah, that's true. Look, as far as the things that they focus on for their packages, these comedy news packages that they do, they make fun of them. It's a comedy show. We knew that in advance. If you think that was a bad choice, well, sorry. I would do it. I would absolutely do it again because it was fun. We had a good time making it, and I enjoyed watching it. It was amusing, and a lot of people liked it. A lot of libertarians threw their hands up in the air, and they said that we had destroyed the movement by going on the Colbert Report, that we, in just that one swift move, had destroyed the entire libertarian movement. Isn't that pathetic? Doesn't that say that the libertarian movement is super easy to destroy if that were actually true?
The thing that I found the funniest about it was that Garrett told the camera people, I don't want to be part of your package if you film Cantwell.
and they put them together.
They put them both together to make it look like they were, friends or
Hey,
cohorts
Ken, if
of
you
some
can do
sort.
better activism, get out there and do it, and then get some publicity for it, and we'll see how your cookie crumbles. Thanks for the call tonight.
We'll cover
see
you,
tomorrow night.
Ken.
Yeah, we'll definitely cover whatever it is you do.
What kind of cookie?
See you online between now and then. In the meantime, at freetalklive.com. Snickerdoodle.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way.
Love as your guide.
And liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Cop Block Radio is up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, March 16th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.25 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,230 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $420. Antiwar.com reports a day after the opening of the Syrian peace talks in Geneva, UN officials say that the Syrian government and a major rebel faction have each submitted position papers outlining their respective expectations for a settlement of the ongoing civil war and looking for any common ground between them. UN officials would not say anything about the chances of doing that, but did say that the withdrawal of Russian troops and warplanes from Syria is also bolstering expectations for a significant development towards a peace deal. Syrian rebels threw that suggestion out the window, however, saying the morale is sky high after Russia's pullout and that they believe an outright military victory is now in sight on the assumption that Assad cannot survive without Russian involvement. The expectations for the Syrian talks started pretty low after a previous round of talks ended in disaster, with both sides arguing with the UN over the point of whether the talks ever actually began at all. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump has won Tuesday's winner-take-all primary in Florida, apparently dealing a knockout blow to Senator Marco Rubio, who has suspended his campaign. But Trump, who was also projected to win in Illinois and